Imagine turning from a worthless old man into a powerful hero whom everyone wishes to approach. Did you imagine it, my friend? Alright, let's begin. Our story starts with Ryoma, a miserable employee working in a soul-draining company. The manager constantly overloaded him with tasks, ignored the rest of the employees, and poured all the insults and humiliation on him alone. Yet Ryoma remained silent, never defending himself, and continued to endure this humiliation until he died. But after that, the young man discovered that he had been transported to another world. There, he found 3 mages with strange appearances who didn't seem to be from Earth, and he learned from them that he had died. Why did he die, my friend? Because while he was sleeping, he sneezed 4 powerful sneezes, which caused his brain to rupture, and his blood vessels exploded, leading him to pass away. And of course, when Ryoma found out he had died because of a sneeze, he went insane. He said to himself, "I spent my whole life enduring humiliation and beatings since I was a child. Even my boss at work showed no mercy. One day he even hit me on the head with a bottle. And still, I endured it all, only to die from a sneeze? What a humiliating death." But never mind. He calmed himself afterward, remembering the saying, "Causes may differ, but death is one." After that, he learned from the 3 mages that they would transfer him to a magical world. But he wouldn't go there as Ryoma, the 35-year-old employee. Instead, he would be reincarnated as an 8-year-old boy. And not only that, he would possess great magical power that he could use as he pleased. He also learned from them that there was a rift between the Earth and the world he was going to, and that this new world was called Sealfall. One of the mages told him, "The world you came from contains a vast amount of magic, but humans are unable to perceive it. A large portion of that magic will be transferred with you to the world of Sealfall, and you will have incredible power." Then, they made him sign a contract confirming that he agreed to be reincarnated in the form of a child, and the transfer was carried out. Ryoma's body was drawn into the other world, and at that moment, the mages realized that he had arrived and could now do whatever he wished. They told him they would always be watching him, and if he ever wanted to contact them, he only had to go to the church. Without even speaking a word, they would know what he wanted. After that, Ryoma began his new life in Sealfall. There, he found himself transformed into a young boy, 8 years old, just as they had told him. Beside him was a book containing everything about his powers, since he was not yet used to his new body, his strength, or anything else. He then began testing his physical abilities. He walked to a tree nearby and kicked it with his foot. Instantly, the tree split in half. He was greatly impressed by this. Then, he noticed a slime creature nearby, and his eyes sparkled with stars because he loved such monsters very much. He tried to make the slime reveal its powers, but it didn't respond to him. So, he had to unlock his own magic to find the spell that would allow him to control the creature. But the book was filled with so many spells that he didn't know where to start. He threw all the books aside and did a quick meditation, and then the magic was summoned, and he succeeded in controlling the slime. He walked with it and decided to live in the Jana forest. Naturally, he was very happy because he would now live freely, with no annoying boss to ruin his peace. He also decided to gather as many slimes as possible to live with him and follow all his commands. And indeed, after 3 years, we see Ryoma waking up in his house, located inside a cave in the Jana forest. He was living with 1,000 slimes, each group having a specific form and function. For example, there were slimes that ate larvae and produced extremely strong thread that Ryoma used for hunting. Another type was acidic slime that could melt anything, bones, metal, anything in its way. The poisonous slime only consumed toxic herbs and produced a very potent poison. Another type sterilized anything it came across, as it fed on germs, and the last type loved eating garbage and turned it into agricultural fertilizer. One day, Ryoma went out into the forest to hunt. He knew that he might encounter monsters or ogres, but he was used to facing and defeating them with ease. However, this time, instead of finding an animal to hunt or a monster to fight, he found a group of knights with an injured companion named Hughes, whose wound looked very severe. The healer with them, named Camille, was unable to treat him using magic, and it seemed that the man was on the verge of death before their eyes. When Ryoma saw what had happened, he approached them to try and treat the injured man. However, the knights were afraid of him and raised their swords to stop him, but our hero didn't even flinch. He calmly offered them a potion he had crafted himself and said, "Give him some of this medicine, and I guarantee he'll be fine." His voice was weak, as he hadn't spoken to a human being in 3 years, but the boy quickly regained control of the situation and told them, "Try this medicine. You won't regret it." The healer took the potion from him and tested it, and instantly realized that it was incredibly effective and would certainly help Hughes. Indeed, after Hughes drank it, he fell into a deep sleep. At that point, the knights sheathed their swords and thanked Ryoma for saving their companion. Ryoma then offered to take them to his home so they could rest a little, and naturally, the knights agreed. They carried their sleeping friend and followed Ryoma through the forest toward his home. They were deeply puzzled. How could a child so young live alone in such a place? From his clothing, they could tell he was a hunter, but the situation still felt mysterious. Then, Ryoma suddenly stopped, sensing that a creature was approaching. The knights immediately prepared to fight, but what came toward them wasn't a monster, it was a slime. The knights didn't realize this slime was Ryoma's pet. Seeing their confusion, Ryoma told them, "Lower your weapons. This slime is my friend." They listened to him, sheathed their swords again, and apologized for the misunderstanding. They continued walking through the forest, and during the journey, Rain said to Ryoma that when he was young, he used to live in a house full of slimes. His family had been taming them for generations, in addition to red horses, storm apes, and other rare creatures, all of which were extremely expensive and difficult to obtain. That's when Ryoma realized that Rain came from a very wealthy family. After some time, they reached the mountain, and Ryoma told them, "My house is here." They were stunned and thought to themselves, "Is this boy crazy? Where's the house he's talking about?" Then, Ryoma cast a spell to remove the magical barrier, revealing a house hidden inside the mountain. The knights finally understood. When they entered the house, they laid Hughes on Ryoma's bed and saw for themselves that he lived alone. The furniture consisted only of a table, a chair, and a few items fit for just one person. Thinking back on everything Ryoma had done since they met him in the forest, the knights began to suspect that he might actually be an old man who used magic to disguise himself as a child. Then, Ryoma brought out a box full of bottles containing the magical medicine he had used to treat their friend. He told them that he made this medicine himself. He also served them cold water with ice, which shocked them since ice in that world could only be made through magic. They asked him how he cast such a spell, and he smiled and said, "Ah, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Ryoma, an 11-year-old hunter. It's a pleasure to meet you." One of the knights replied, "It's a pleasure for me as well. I'm Rain, a noble from the Duchy of Jamil." Ryoma bowed to him respectfully and said, "It's a great honor to have a noble like you visit my home." Rain replied, "Come on now. I owe you for saving one of my men." The others began introducing themselves. One said he was a healer. Another said, "I'm a scout, and my name is Zeph." The last one said, "I'm a knight, and my name is Gil. I apologize for pointing my sword at you earlier." Ryoma responded, "Oh, don't worry about it. It happens even in the finest of families." Then Rain explained what had happened. "While we were in the forest, we were attacked by bandits, but we managed to defeat them. After that, we encountered a massive black bear and killed it too. But before it died, it wounded Hughes, as you saw. When the horses saw the bear, they ran off." Rain then asked, "What would make a young boy like you, a hunter with knowledge of magic spells, live in this forest instead of a village? Why are you living alone here? Where are your family and relatives?" Ryoma replied, "The people in the village see me as a strange child, so I don't feel comfortable living there. By the way, I used to live with my grandfather and grandmother, but they passed away 3 years ago. Since then, I've been living here alone." At that point, the healer Camille brought out a magical crystal ball and explained that when someone touches it, it can detect whether they are a criminal or not. If the person is a criminal, the ball glows red. If not, it glows blue. It can also reveal the person's name, age, and combat abilities. Camille asked Ryoma to place his hand on the crystal. Ryoma felt trapped, but he had no choice but to comply to avoid suspicion. He placed his hand on the ball, and it glowed blue. However, Camille seemed surprised by something he saw. Ryoma asked him, "What did you see?" Camille replied, "Oh, nothing. It's just that you don't seem to have any combat skills." Ryoma said, "Don't worry, it's nothing. I'll go prepare dinner for you." He then left the room. Rain asked Camille, "What did you see in the crystal that shocked you like that?" Camille showed him what was written inside, that Ryoma was 11 years old, and that he had the ability to resist both physical and mental pain. Rain then said to his companions, "We can't leave him alone in this forest. I'm going back to the castle to tell my father Elise about Ryoma." Shortly after, Hughes had fully recovered. He thanked Ryoma for everything he had done for him, but when he started to show signs of fatigue again, Ryoma gave him a potion that smelled awful. Hughes refused to drink it, so Camille forced it down his throat. Once the potion took effect, Hughes returned to perfect health, even better than before. He then said to Ryoma, "You saved the life of the Duke's personal bodyguard. I'll never forget this favor." If you ever come to Joanna, you must visit me there. After that, they all said goodbye and left. A week later, Ryoma was surprised when the healer returned to his home, and this time, he was accompanied by a girl as beautiful as the moon, and she was the same age as Ryoma. At the beginning, everyone started introducing themselves. The first was the elderly man Jamil, who turned out to be Rain's father, and also the former Duke of the Kingdom. Then Elise, Rain's wife, introduced herself and thanked Ryoma for what he had done for her husband and his knights. Ryoma replied politely, "I only did what anyone should." At that moment, Rain introduced his daughter, Elia. Ryoma's face turned red with embarrassment, as it was the first time he had ever seen a girl his age. Not knowing how to escape the awkward situation, he said, "I would have liked to host you properly, but my house is humble and may not be fitting." Jamil laughed and replied, "Don't say that. It's more than enough that we came without even giving you notice." Then Jamil noticed the slime surrounding Ryoma and said in amazement, "What in the world? I've never seen this many slimes before. How did you manage to tame them all?" Rain, also surprised, asked, "Have their numbers increased since the last time?" Ryoma responded, "Yes, they've multiplied. Each one has split into two." Elia then asked, "Do they know their way to your home?" Ryoma replied, "Yes, I've trained them to memorize the route." Then Ryoma gave the slimes a command to expand. All the slimes gathered together and transformed into a single giant slime. Elia gasped and asked, "How did you do that?" Ryoma explained, "I can merge more than 100 slimes of the same type into one large slime, like what you're seeing now. It helps them enter the house quickly. Once inside, I return them to their normal size so the house can accommodate them." Everyone was astonished by Ryoma's skill in slime taming. Elise couldn't believe what she saw. She approached Ryoma and said, "How can you talk as if what you do is normal? You're a brilliant tamer and hunter. There's no one like you. That's why you must register your name with the Tamers Guild and share this genius discovery of yours." Ryoma replied, "I'll think about it later." Then he gave the slimes the command to return to their original size, and they did. Everyone then entered the house. At that moment, Rain presented Ryoma with a gift, a golden pocket watch, and said, "I noticed your home doesn't have a clock. Thought I'd bring you one that might be useful." Ryoma gratefully accepted the gift and thanked him with a smile. Then Elia said, "By the way, we didn't come just to bring you a watch. I come from one of the greatest tamer families in the kingdom, and I want to capture my first slime by myself, without help. Since you're an expert in slime taming, I'd like you to suggest the best place where slimes gather, so I can catch my very first one." Ryoma pointed to a small lake on a hand-drawn map of the forest and said, "Slimes usually gather here to drink. If you go to that spot, you'll definitely be able to catch one." Elia replied, "Now I know the place, but I still haven't decided what kind of slime I want as my first pet. What do you recommend? I've never seen that white slime of yours before. What is it exactly?" Ryoma said, "Those brown slimes you see eat trash and waste. They remove anything with a bad smell and turn it into compost, which I use for farming." Elia began writing down everything Ryoma said so she wouldn't forget. She told him this was the first time she had ever heard of this slime type. Then Ryoma picked up a white slime and said, "This one is called a cleaning slime. It can clean and disinfect anything." He pulled out a cloth and told her, "This cloth was from a fight I had with a goblin in the forest. I defeated it." He then handed the cloth to the slime, and within moments, the slime cleaned it until it looked brand new, better than any washing machine in the world. To prove that cleaning slimes don't eat flesh unless ordered to, Ryoma dipped his hand inside it and nothing happened. With excitement, Elia said, "I've decided. My first slime will be this cute white cleaning slime, and I want you to teach me how to catch one." Ryoma's face turned red again and he said, "I can't teach a girl like you how to catch a slime." It was clear he was shy and reluctant, but all the men in the house gathered around him. When he explained how to catch a cleaning slime, their faces also turned red, except for Hughes, who said, "Leave this mission to us, gentlemen." Then he turned to Elia and the other women and said, "It's really simple. Cleaning slimes love bath water. All you have to do, Elia, is take a bath, collect the used water, go to the lake, and pour it there. The cleaning slime will come straight to you and you'll be able to tame it." At that moment, Hughes received a strong punch to the face, but Elia followed his instructions, went out, and successfully caught her first slime. By the end of the day, she returned holding her new slime with a bright smile. Everyone congratulated her on the achievement. That's when Ryoma recalled the day he caught his very first slime. He remembered how happy he was with it, so much so that he named it Tabut, after his dearest friend. Then Elise asked Ryoma, "What do you plan to do next?" He answered, "I haven't decided yet. I might keep living here in the forest, or maybe I'll travel to another city. Depends on my mood. Rain said to him, how about joining us on our journey to the city? And if you ever wish to return here, you can do so whenever you like. Noticing Ryoma's hesitation, Elia said, by the way, this is my first journey too. I was very scared, and I still am. But because I agreed to join this trip, I've been through many adventures. I've learned a lot, and there's still so much more to learn. I'm sure we'll come across many things on the road that will teach us even more. Convinced by her words, Ryoma replied, well then, if that's the case, I'll go with you. Rain smiled and said, gather all your belongings and give them to Sebas, my steward. He'll store them in the magic chest. But Ryoma chuckled and replied, come now, Duke. Have you forgotten I'm a magician? I'll store my things myself. Rain was surprised. How is that possible? No magician can use a magic chest unless he's grown older, studied all forms of magic, and reached a high level. At that moment, Elise's eyes lit up with excitement. If you want to learn any new spells, she said to Ryoma, just tell me, and I'll share all my magical knowledge with you. Before Ryoma could answer, Elia added eagerly, say yes, we'll learn together. He smiled and said, if we're learning together, then of course I'll accept. He then left to gather his belongings, placing everything neatly into his own magical chest until the house was completely emptied. After that, they all stepped outside, and Ryoma sealed the house using the protection barrier spell. Sebas summoned 2 large magical carriages pulled by horses. They split into 2 groups, Ryoma, Elia, her mother and father, along with Sebas in one carriage, while Rain and the others rode in the second. As the journey began, Elia turned to Ryoma and asked, tell me, Prince, can you really control the elements of fire, water, earth, and air? Ryoma answered calmly, of course, my grandmother taught me all types of magic. Rain was shocked. You mean you can use barrier magic, taming magic, and all 4 elemental types? That's insane. People like you are extremely rare and hold high status among magicians. Ryoma responded, and what would you say if I told you I also practice healing magic and alchemy? Jamil immediately warned him, alchemy? That's an incredibly rare form of magic. Only a handful of mages can use it, and most who do are dark mages. Don't let its power tempt you into doing something reckless. Ryoma replied confidently, don't worry, Grandpa, I'm not like them. Honestly, I didn't even know alchemy was that rare, and in any case, I only use it for beneficial purposes. Then Ryoma thought to himself, these people are strange. Every time I mention something I can do, they act like it's some kind of miracle. I hope things don't get weirder from here. Things went smoothly until rain began to fall. Sebas pulled a blanket from his magical chest and handed it to Elise. Suddenly, the carriage came to a stop. Ryoma stepped outside, wearing a magical cloak he had crafted himself, using a special substance secreted by toxic slimes, which made the cloak waterproof. As he inspected the situation, Jamil whispered to his wife, imagine how much Ryoma could make if he sold that cloak to Sergei, the merchant who owns Morgan Trading Company. Meanwhile, Ryoma found the knights in disarray. A section of the mountain had collapsed, completely blocking the path. Ryoma stepped forward and said confidently, leave this to me. First, he cast a protection spell over everyone to shield them from the rain. Then, he used a powerful spell to lift the massive rocks blocking the road. It took the entire night, but when he finished, everyone thanked him sincerely. They continued their journey, and after 3 days, they arrived at the city of Jamu. There, they checked into a hotel. As Ryoma entered his room and opened the window, he looked out onto the city's main street. We learn then that the city is well known for its mines, where laborers extract various minerals. However, production in recent times had declined significantly. That's why the Duke had come, to assess which mines would remain operational and which would be shut down. Since Ryoma didn't have an identification card, the Duke and his family took him to the church to receive what's known as a status element, similar to a personal ID. Upon arriving at the church, the clerk told him, take this item, place it in front of the crystal, and touch the crystal. Ryoma did as instructed. Suddenly he was transported to the place where he had once met the 3 mages who had sent him to the world of Salfel. Seeing them, he panicked. What's going on? Did I die again? They laughed and replied, no, you're not dead. We just missed you and thought we'd check in. Then they added, we're really impressed with your progress in this world, especially your house in the forest. But the best part? The bathroom is always spotless. Ryoma chuckled. Well, I can't take credit for that. All thanks goes to the cleaning slime. They then revealed a surprising truth. There never was a cleaning slime. or even a garbage-eating slime. You created those species yourself, evolving them from other slime types. But that wasn't the only surprise. Ryoma learned that many other humans had been transported to the world of Salfel, some of whom had become members of noble families. For example, there was a woman highly skilled in magic who established a school for training in spellcasting and monster taming. She eventually met one of the Duke's ancestors, fell in love, and married him. That's how Elia inherited her magical abilities from her earthborn grandmother. Ryoma was overwhelmed with joy to discover that Elia also had roots in the earthly world. When one of the mages saw the joy in Ryoma's eyes, he thought to himself, "Let me ruin this moment for him a little." Then suddenly threw him a remark saying, "There was another person before you who was transported from Earth to our world, but he used the magical power we granted him for evil. However, he eventually managed to control himself and return to the path of good magic." Then the mage added, addressing Ryoma, "Be very careful. The magical energy you possess will attract leaders from both the good and evil realms of magic. Stay vigilant." Ryoma confidently replied, "Don't worry about me. I'll know how to keep them in check." After that, Ryoma returned once more to the world of Selfil, received his status element card from the clerk, then headed to meet the Duke and his family, who had learned that he had completed the registration process. At that moment, Jamil jokingly said to him, "Now that you've become a fully equipped young man, I'd like to offer you some useful advice about the city." Ryoma smiled and replied, "Please do, Grandpa. We always learn from your experience." Jamil spoke in a serious tone. "You must be cautious. Your magical abilities far surpass those of other children your age, and this could lead many criminals to target you, either to learn magic from you or to exploit your powers for their own purposes. That's why you should avoid showing your abilities in front of ordinary people and refrain from attracting attention. I know it's difficult, but you must try. Better yet, you should register with one of the magic guilds." At that moment, Ryoma noticed that the young girl wanted to say something but was hesitant, so he said, "What's wrong? It seems like you want to ask me something but are too shy to say it." She replied timidly, "It's nothing. I just wanted to know, how much magical power do you have?" He answered, 198,000. She was astonished and said, "Can you really control all that power? We have many mages with far less magical energy than that, yet they still can't control their abilities." He asked her, "And you? How much magical power do you have?" She responded, 2,000, and still, I can't control it. He gently said, "That's all right. It's simple. Practice using it again and again, and you'll gradually gain control." She was impressed by the idea and asked, "Where did you get that idea from?" He replied playfully, "That's the difference in abilities, my dear." After that, they went to the Magic Guild, but the guild refused to accept Ryoma, as joining required summoning and controlling a magical beast. Ryoma, however, always had his beasts with him and never needed to summon them. So the Duke and his companions took him to the Adventurers Guild, where the guild master himself conducted Ryoma's test. The first test involved hitting stationary targets with arrows, and Ryoma succeeded with a single hit for each target. The guild master said, "Excellent. Now let's make it harder with moving targets." But that didn't faze Ryoma, as he struck every moving target with incredible precision. Then came the final test, where the master threw a dagger at him to test his reaction. Ryoma not only caught the dagger with his hand, but also threw it back at the master using a magical spell to summon a weapon and attacked him with it. The master laughed and said, "I was just testing you, kid. You passed with flying colors, all 3 tests." Afterward, the guild master handed him the Adventurers Guild membership card, categorizing him as a G-rank adventurer, the lowest rank. He said, "I'll have you start from the bottom of the ladder, so the other adventurers won't grow envious of you." Ryoma replied, "All right, no problem." Ryoma received his first mission, which was to clean houses and bathrooms. The next day, he went to his first assignment. When he knocked on the door, a well-groomed cat opened it. Her name was Maya, and she belonged to a race known as the Beastkin. This was Ryoma's first time seeing a cat. As soon as the door opened, a foul odor wafted from inside, making it hard for Ryoma to breathe, unlike the trash slimes, who leaped into the box, eager to devour the garbage scattered everywhere. Ryoma then discovered that Maya's house was next to the waste area, and the shared wall had partially collapsed, allowing the trash to invade her home. No one had agreed to clean her house because of how much filth had accumulated, and she had lost all hope that someone would help her. So when Ryoma told her he would clean it, she couldn't believe it, and burst into tears of joy. Then Ryoma opened the slime box and said, "Let's get to work." They started with the dump site, where the the slimes consumed all the garbage. Then Ryoma used the water control spell and thoroughly washed the place. After that, they moved to Maya's home. The trash slimes repeated their task with dedication. A gap in the damaged wall became visible. Ryoma called on the sticky slime to assist him, then used the stone spell to realign and attach the stones. After finishing the repair, he disinfected the area and finally handed Maya back her home, now clean and restored. She wept again from happiness, unable to believe her house was back to normal, and thanked Ryoma deeply. Ryoma jokingly said, "No need to thank me, my little cat, just doing my job." Then, he had her sign the mission completion form, which she did with joy. The news of his excellent work reached the Adventurers Guild, and they decided to reward him with a large bonus. When he returned to the guild, the receptionist couldn't believe he had completed Maya's house in such a short time. She handed him a bag full of money. He asked in surprise, "What is all this? That's a huge amount." She replied, "It was Maya. She asked us to double your pay." After that, the guildmaster called him in for something important. When they sat down, Ryoma said, "I know what it is. Cleaning the public restrooms, right?" The master laughed and said, "Exactly. But be careful. This is a task requested directly by the government." He explained that the government used to pay poor villagers wages to clean public toilets, but the minister ordered the budget cut due to a national crisis, as the mines were no longer operating as before. Ryoma said, "I know that. But what happened to the villagers is unjust. I don't think the Duke would ever approve of such a thing. I'll report it to him myself." When he returned to the palace, he informed them of what had happened. The Duke grew furious and said, "How could this happen? There must be theft going on inside the ministry. I never stopped paying the wages of the villagers who clean the public toilets. The full payments are still being issued. An immediate investigation must be launched so we can catch that corrupt minister." He then asked Ryoma to temporarily take on the task of cleaning the public toilets until the issue could be resolved. Ryoma agreed, of course. Afterward, the young man went to the public restroom area, and as soon as he opened the door to the first bathroom, he was struck by a horrible stench. He and the slimes immediately began cleaning. Since the slimes consumed a large amount of waste, each one split into two, which helped Ryoma complete the job much faster. However, Ryoma was shocked to discover the presence of toxic gases inside the public toilets. He quickly reported this to the Duke and his family. They were all deeply worried about him, but he reassured them, saying, "My body is immune to all kinds of poisons, so there's no danger to me. But if the villagers come near these toilets, they could die just from inhaling the fumes. That's why we need guards to protect the area during the cleaning process." The Duke then assigned a group of adventurers to accompany Ryoma and guard the restrooms during his work. The next day, the adventurers went with Ryoma, and while he was working, Elise arrived with the servants carrying food and juice for him. The adventurers didn't let them enter the restrooms, so they asked the servants to deliver the food to Ryoma, and everyone agreed. In the evening, Ryoma stepped out to take a short break, ate his meal, and drank some juice. In the morning, when the adventurers asked him to take a proper rest, he replied, "I won't rest until I finish the job." He returned inside to continue the cleaning, and the adventurers were amazed by his courage and strength. After some time, Ryoma completed the cleaning of all the public toilets. When he exited the last restroom, Maya greeted him and said, "Well done, hero." Then, the young man went to the Adventurers Guild and said to the guildmaster, "I've finished cleaning all 30 toilets." The guildmaster replied with admiration, "Well done, adventurer. Expect a great reward from us. Now go home and get some well-deserved rest." The following morning, as Ryoma was leaving the Adventurers Guild, he remembered his days back on Earth, when he used to work late into the night, only to return home in the morning and find his mother waiting for him. At that time, he felt that someone truly cared about him and about his life. But after his mother passed away, he returned to an empty home, and though it saddened him at first, he gradually grew used to being alone, used to having no one in the world. But this time, when he returned to the Duke's palace, he found the Duke and his entire family waiting for him, eager to make sure he was all right. Ryoma couldn't hold back his emotions and began crying out of pure joy. He said to them, "It's been so long since I last felt like I had a family that cared about me. I don't know how to thank you." Elise approached him gently and said, "From this day on, you do have a family that loves you and worries about you. Don't worry about anything. We're here for you. Everything is going to be just fine." The next morning, Elia woke up early and began preparing breakfast for Ryoma, with help from her mother and the servants. When Ryoma saw the royal-style breakfast, he asked, "Did you prepare this yourself?" Hughes joked, "Don't let it get to your head. It's just a little bribe, so you'll agree to what she's about to ask." Ryoma laughed and replied, "You don't need a bribe. You only have to ask." Ilya said, "I was sure that the eggs I made for breakfast would win you over and get you to agree." Hughes added, "Indeed, your cooking is simply irresistible." Pretending not to hear him, Ilya said, "Ryoma, I want you to teach me magic today." He answered, "With pleasure." After breakfast, they all went to a place near the forest, and Ryoma began teaching her how to control dark magic, water, and wind. At first it was difficult for her, but eventually she managed to wield the magic just like he did. Then the healer turned to Ryoma and asked, "Tell me, how do you use magic in combat?" Ryoma replied, "I'm not very skilled in that area." The healer then wanted to demonstrate, so he cast a flame arrow spell and shot it at a nearby mountain, breaking off a piece of it. Ryoma then used his own flame arrow and shattered a much larger portion of the mountain. The healer laughed in surprise and said, all right, you've surpassed me. Come on, let me teach you more." He then began showing Ryoma how to use water, wind, fire, and ice magic all at once in battle. And as expected, the student quickly outshone his teacher. Then, Seba stepped forward and said, "Now it's my turn. I'm going to teach you spatial magic." He continued, "Spatial magic, my friend, allows a magician to teleport from one place to another in less than a second." Ryoma replied, "Oh, come on!" And suddenly, he vanished from where he stood and reappeared in a nearby spot with incredible speed. Sebas said in amazement, "Excellent! Now I want you to teleport all the way to that distant mountain." Ryoma asked, "How do I do that?" Sebas replied, "It's simple. Just focus on the exact point you want to move to. It's easier than you think." Ryoma followed the instructions and successfully teleported to the top of the mountain in seconds. At that same moment, Sebas appeared beside him and said, "Well done, hero. You learned that incredibly fast. Now I'll teach you how to use spatial magic to teleport living beings from one place to another." At that moment, Sebas used spatial magic to open a portal capable of transferring living beings from one place to another. He then began teaching Ryoma how to open such a portal himself. Ryoma kept trying over and over until he finally succeeded, and he felt overwhelming joy. This spatial rift would allow him to transport slimes from place to place without having to pack them into boxes and carry them on his back. The next day, Ryoma had a monster combat lesson. He headed to the entrance of a well-known mine along with Elia and the knights to begin the training. Elia appeared slightly nervous, as it was her first time fighting real monsters. The Duke and her grandfather encouraged and reassured her. They all entered the mine, and after walking a short distance inside, one of the scouting knights said, "Wait, there's a monster nearby." Everyone stopped, and suddenly, a mantis monster appeared. The scout explained that this creature was especially dangerous because it was never alone. There were usually at least 30 more of its kind nearby within the mine, but Elia gathered her courage and said firmly, "Leave this one to me." She launched a fire arrow at it, but it had no effect. She then fired another arrow directly at its head, and this time she struck it down. Everyone praised her bravery. Soon, more monsters appeared, and Ryoma eliminated them all with a single strike. His garbage slimes then devoured the fallen monster's remains. At that moment, Elia spotted a metallic slime. She trapped it using an ice spell, then gifted it to Ryoma as a token of gratitude for teaching her how to control magic through fun and games. When they exited the mine, the Duke and grandfather congratulated Elia on catching her first monster. Meanwhile, Ryoma noticed a red shimmer in the sand near the mine's entrance. Using alchemy magic, he extracted metal from the sand, revealing a stunning iron ingot. Everyone around him was impressed. They summoned the merchant, Sergei, to inspect it. Upon seeing the ingot, Sergei gasped in amazement. "My goodness, I've never seen an ingot this beautiful before. The one who made this must be an extremely skilled alchemist." Jamil responded with a smile. "Indeed, it was Ryoma, the young man standing right in front of you." Sergei said, "I'd like to buy it. Name your price." Jamil replied warmly, "We agree to sell it, and all proceeds will go to Ryoma. We don't need the money." Ryoma could hardly believe it. He was overjoyed. Then the Duke turned to Sergei and warned, "Don't tell anyone that the alchemist who crafted this ingot is an 11-year-old boy. Someone might try to kidnap him." Sergei nodded quickly and said, "You have my word." The next day, Ryoma attended a meeting with the head of the Adventurers Guild and several members. The guildmaster informed them that all individuals who had stolen from the national treasury had been fired and arrested. He then explained their next mission: to track and eliminate the monsters within the northern mine. He reassured them that the creatures were relatively small, but warned there might be unexpected threats inside, so they should remain alert. Before heading out, Ryoma brought poison and acid close to the metallic slime to test its reactions. The slime was visibly terrified. Being made of metal, it was especially vulnerable to acid and toxins. Ryoma gently picked it up and comforted it, later playing ball with Alaya, using the slime as a toy. Then they heard the adventurers calling Ryoma for the monster hunt. He joined them and headed to the mine, where they were greeted by the guildmaster and his secretary. The secretary said, "The monsters you're likely to encounter inside are either mantises, bats, or rats." The guildmaster added, "These are simple beasts and can be defeated easily, but beware, they usually appear in groups. Still, I'm confident that as brave adventurers, you'll succeed." The group ventured into the mine. After a short walk, one of the adventurers turned to Ryoma jokingly and said, "You've been promoted to rank F in just 2 days. Ryoma laughed and replied, "Do you think cleaning 30 toilets was easy? That nearly broke me." The adventurer replied, "Then go slay some monsters too. You might get another promotion." Just then, the cat-eared adventurer interrupted and asked Ryoma, "By the way, how many slimes do you have under your control?" Ryoma replied calmly, "Not that many, just 4,310. The cat girl was shocked. "How in the world do you control that many?" He answered confidently, "It's simple, I've gotten used to handling all of them." Another adventurer asked, "Can you actually fight?" Ryoma grinned and said, "Of course, I fight with bows, arrows, daggers, my fists, and all kinds of magic spells. There's nothing I can't handle." The girl chuckled and said, "Nice. Looks like we'll be relying on you a lot, especially for the offense. None of us are really good at it." He smiled and replied, "Just say the word. I'm ready." Suddenly, more mantis monsters appeared, but the adventurers quickly defeated them. Then they discovered a large swarm of bats within the mine. Ryoma stepped forward and said, "I'll take care of this. I'll use a sound bomb spell. But first, I'll cast a sound barrier to protect everyone." After making sure everyone was shielded, he cast a small barrier on himself and then detonated the sound bomb. The explosion instantly eliminated all the bats. Ryoma then ordered the sticky slimes to devour the corpses. As they exited the mine, the guildmaster was waiting for them and said, "Goblin monsters have attacked the miners." The secretary showed them an image of the creatures and explained, "The goblin village is located inside the mine. There are over 500 of them. You'll need to eliminate them all." The adventurers formed a strategy. 2 of them entered the goblin village to provoke the monsters and lure them outside. As expected, the goblins chased after them and fell into a pit Ryoma had filled with acid slime. Many were killed on the spot, but due to their massive size, not all of their bodies dissolved completely. The rest of the goblins climbed over the corpses of their fallen comrades and launched a counterattack. The adventurers held their ground. The guildmaster himself joined the fierce battle against the goblins, and many were taken down with swords and spells. But they soon realized the enemy count was far greater than 500. Meanwhile, the healing slimes were assisting the injured miners. More goblins began to emerge. Ryoma declared, "There's no other way now." He used spatial magic to summon a large number of slimes into the mine and ordered them to attack the goblins. The adventurers fought alongside them, cutting down more monsters. Finally, Ryoma decided to use the sound bomb again. He cast sound barriers to protect everyone, shielded himself, and unleashed the bomb. The explosion paralyzed the goblins, making it easy for the slimes to finish them off completely. And then, my friend, the Goblin King appeared, coming to wipe them all out. But do you think Ryoma would just stand by and do nothing? Never. He immediately commanded all the slimes to attack, and sure enough, they managed to bring him down. With that, Ryoma, the slimes, and the adventurers had successfully defeated 2,000 goblins in total. After the battle, Ryoma asked the cleaning slimes to clean the adventurers and their clothes, which were almost discarded due to how filthy they had become. At that moment, Maya said to him, "Ryoma, if you opened a laundry shop, you'd become a millionaire for sure." The idea resonated with Ryoma. When they exited the cave, the villagers thanked Ryoma, as the healing slime had saved the workers who had been attacked by the goblins, and everything returned to normal. After the adventurers returned to the Duke's mansion, Ryoma had already made up his mind to leave and become independent. He met with the Duke and his family, told them everything that happened during the mission, and thanked them for all they had done for him. Then he said, "I've decided to part ways with you and live independently." Eliaya was visibly moved and asked, "Why do you want to leave us? Did someone upset you?" He replied, "No, not at all. but I've come to rely on you for everything. I feel like a spoiled child. That's why I want to stand on my own." The Duke responded, "We knew this day would come. We were just waiting for you to take this step." Eliaya added, "I never imagined Ryoma would ever leave us." Her mother said to her, "Just as you're leaving to attend the Magic Academy and learn on your own, he too must take this journey for himself." Then the grandfather said with a smile, "We agree to let you go, but on one condition. You must write us a letter every day to let us know how you're doing." The Duke added, "And you must come visit us from time to time so we can see you again." Elise said, "Don't ever hesitate to ask us for help, no matter what. Also, you must continue living in this inn. It's ours, and your stay will always be free." Then Eliaya said, "I have two conditions. First, we must meet again after 3 years. That's when I'll have my first break from the academy. Second, we must meet again after 6 years, once I graduate. And if you forget those 2 dates, I'll make you regret it." He smiled and replied, all right, I won't forget." Then he asked them, "Are you leaving the city too?" They replied, "Yes, we'll be leaving once the grill frog season begins." He asked, "Aren't those the frogs whose skins are used to make weapons?" The Duke said, "Exactly, and their organs are used for medicine as well." Eliaya added, "During that season, a rare bird called the lemur appears. It's an incredibly beautiful creature with a lovely voice, but it's extremely difficult to catch because of its speed." Ryoma said, "I'd really like to see that bird." Elise told him, "If you want to see it, you'll have to come with us." He replied, "You can count on it." Then Ryoma told them that he planned to open a laundry business. He'd noticed how adventurers always threw away their clothes after fighting ghouls, as the stench was impossible to remove. At that moment, the maids entered the room and said, "You'll earn a fortune from this project. You're cleaning slimes clean clothes like magic." The Duke said, "Tomorrow, I'll arrange a meeting with the merchant Serge so you can present your idea to him and hear what he thinks." The next day, they went to see Serge. When he saw how clean the clothes were thanks to the slime, he said in amazement, "This is incredible, Ryoma. I'm totally on board with your idea, and I'll support you. But first, you need to register with the Merchants Guild, so the big merchants don't trouble you." And so they all went to the guild, where they met the guild master. She agreed to enroll Ryoma, gave him his membership card, and also offered to sell him a great property to use for his laundry business. The next day, Ryoma went with Serge and Eliaya to check out the location. Serge told him, "This place used to be a grand hotel, but it burned down. Ever since, no one's been interested in buying it." Ryoma looked at the map and said, "This location is perfect. It's near a residential area and the Adventurers Guild. I'll take it." Serge laughed and said, "Great, I'll bring the workers tomorrow to start renovations. And don't forget my commission, boss." The following day, Ryoma began preparing the place with his slimes. Even the knights helped, laying tiles and cleaning up the storefront. When Eliaya told him, "Take a break, it's been a while since you've rested," he replied, "This is nothing compared to the exhaustion from my old job." He was referring to his work at the programming company in his previous world. She asked, "What exactly did you do?" He said, "A lot of things. I made little dolls and sold them, moved goods between shops, stuff like that." She said in surprise, "Really? You used to make dolls? I want one." He smiled and said, "All right, I'll make you one." Once everything was ready, Ryoma told Hughes that he'd hold a grand opening party for the laundry shop, with food and drinks for everyone. Hughes said jokingly, "I'm definitely in. There's food involved." Ryoma then left and headed to the temple, where he was transported to the other world. Upon his arrival, one of the sorcerers said to him, "Be careful. You can no longer hide your emotions like a child. That's dangerous. You must be cautious from here on." Ryoma understood the warning and said, "I will." Then, he returned once again to the world of Sealfall. The next day, Ryoma visited the Duke's family and invited them to the grand opening of his laundromat. He had prepared a banner that read, "Wash your clothes twice and get the third wash for free." He then invited everyone who had helped and supported him, including the adventurers, the merchant, the head of the Adventurers Guild, the head of the Merchants Guild, the knights, and nearly everyone he knew. On the following day, Serge arrived with the twins, Carla and Callum, the 2 employees he had promised Ryoma to help him run the laundromat. On the way, Serge warned them, saying, "Be careful. Though the owner of the laundromat is only 11 years old, he is close to the Duke's family. So, if you make any mistake with him, the consequences will be dire for all of us." At that same moment, Ryoma was with Elia and Arone, preparing food and drinks for the guests. Once they finished, Serge arrived with the new employees. Ryoma welcomed them warmly, and when Serge introduced them, he said, "These twins worked with me at one of my company's branches." Carla was the branch manager, and Callum served as her deputy. Ryoma greeted them and introduced himself, then began explaining how the laundromat operated. He showed them the bags customers would purchase to put their laundry in, then pointed to a special special window where the laundry would be thrown down to the room below, where the cleaning slimes resided. He took them there and demonstrated how the slimes washed the clothes. Afterward, the metal slime would receive the garments and iron them, followed by the adhesive slime, which arranged them neatly in their designated places. Everything was meticulously organized. He then took them upstairs and informed them that the upper floor was restricted to staff only. He showed them the manager's office, the guest reception room, the kitchen, and all the essential facilities. Afterward, he guided them to the workers' quarters and told them, "You may choose any 2 rooms, as you are currently the only employees." As the guests began to arrive, the staff started serving the food and drinks, and everyone was cheerful and delighted. Ryoma approached the Duke and said, "Of course, this food isn't as luxurious as what you're used to at your banquets, but it's the best we could offer." The Duke laughed and replied, "Don't remind me. Banquet food always upsets my stomach. Your food here is perfect for me." When the party ended, the servants and staff began tidying and cleaning the laundromat. During this time, Carla and her brother spoke to Ryoma in a formal manner, which he didn't like. He said, "Do you think I'm related to the Duke or something?" Carla answered, "Yes." He smiled and replied, "I'm not. You can treat me casually. And by the way, if you're not happy with the job, you're free to leave. I won't be upset." But the twins responded in unison, "We want to work with you." Carla added, "When we heard you were only 11, we thought you were just a child who couldn't manage a business. But seeing you here, we realized you are truly capable, and it would be an honor to work with you, boss." The next day, Ryoma wasn't feeling very optimistic. He told the employees, "I know we won't get many customers at first, so I'll go to the Adventurers Guild while you take care of the laundromat." When he arrived at the guild, he found that his friends had created a poster advertising the laundromat and hung it on the wall for everyone to see. He thanked them sincerely, then selected a new cleaning mission. After completing his mission and returning to the laundromat, he was surprised to see an overwhelming number of customers, so many that they blocked the entrance. He used his spatial movement skill to enter and help the employees with their tasks. By the end of the day, everyone was exhausted, and Ryoma thanked them, saying, "I'll hire more staff so the workload is divided, and you can all get more rest." He went to the Merchants Guild and asked the head to send him more employees, as the project was succeeding and the workload was increasing. She replied, "Consider it done. Just tell me what you need." He then visited the Duke and told him everything that had happened. The Duke advised him to visit the royal guards, as they constantly needed their clothes and armor cleaned. Working with them would provide a stable income. Ryoma promised to visit them soon. The Duke then noticed signs of fatigue on Ryoma and said, "You seem exhausted. You should rest so you can continue your work tomorrow." Indeed, Ryoma went to his room, and despite his exhaustion, he felt immense joy. His project had succeeded, and he was surrounded by people who cared for him. The next day, even more customers came. When one lady noticed that her clothes looked clean and brand new, she thanked the employees and said, "I'll wash my clothes here every day." Everyone in the laundromat heard her and was overjoyed, knowing they had finally found a reliable place to clean their garments efficiently. Once Ryoma was assured that everything was running smoothly, he returned to the Merchants Guild. There, the head had already gathered a group of job applicants for him. Upon seeing him, they began whispering, thinking he was the head's grandson or a relative. Ryoma smiled and said, "I'm the owner of the laundromat, and I'm 11 years old. I've come to choose who among you is fit to work with us." He explained that the job did not require much physical effort, so women could apply as well. However, he warned them that those who feared monsters could not work there, as they would have to interact with slimes. Most of them grew scared and left, except for a man and a young girl, who seemed to be strangers to the city. Ryoma noticed that the man's cane concealed a sword, and the girl's hair clip was also a weapon. However, he pretended not to notice and asked them what conditions they had for accepting the job. The man replied, "My name is Phi, and this is my daughter Ling. She doesn't resemble me because she inherited her beauty from her mother." He then showed Ryoma his broken leg and added, "Even so, I can still work." Ryoma replied, "Don't worry, it's a simple matter. I have a healing slime that can easily treat your leg." They then spoke about housing, and the man explained that they were poor and couldn't afford to rent an apartment. Ryoma told them, "That's solved too. I have lodging available for workers and staff." He then asked, "What's the story behind the weapons you're carrying?" They were surprised he had figured them out. Phi said, "I didn't expect you to be so perceptive. Since you know, I'll tell you the truth. We used to be hired assassins, but we left that life after our leader died. We managed to escape from our country before the regime there could kill us, and we arrived here with nothing. No money, no possessions." Ryoma turned to the head of the guild and asked, "Did you know they were former assassins?" She replied, "Yes, but don't worry. They're good people, and I vouch for them with my life. Ryoma then said to them, I wish to benefit from your experience, and would like to appoint you as guards for the laundry. The employees immediately agreed, and he took them there. Upon arrival, they were surprised to find the laundry packed with customers. Ling said in astonishment, Are you sure you just opened 2 days ago? The place is full of people. This is really encouraging. He laughed and said, It's Thursday today, don't jinx it, my lady. Then Ryoma introduced them to the staff, turned to Faye, and said, You'll be in charge of receiving customers. Faye approached the cashier with a smile. Ryoma then said to Ling, Enter the slime room and receive the clean clothes from them. Without saying a word, she went into the slime room. When she saw how they worked, she was deeply impressed and started taking the clean clothes from them and handing them to Carla. At the end of the day, Ryoma thanked everyone and asked Carla to prepare the account summary. He then took Faye and his daughter to the second floor, where he asked one of his slimes to heal Faye's broken leg. Faye could hardly believe he could stand again and thanked Ryoma sincerely. After that, Ryoma showed them the rooms they would stay in, and they were very impressed by how clean and beautiful they were. When they returned to Carla and her brother, Carla handed the account sheet to Ryoma. He said, We earned more today than we did in the past 2 days combined. She replied, You should invest in this success and open a new branch in another city. He said, It's still too early for that. It's only been 2 days since we opened. Then Ryoma told them that Faye and his daughter had military backgrounds, and for that reason, they would be working in security. The next day, Ryoma met with Alaya and told her everything that had happened, that the project had succeeded, and that he had hired new staff to help him. She said, Now I'm relieved. I've been busy learning new types of magic and couldn't assist you. Ryoma thanked her and returned to the laundry, which, as usual, was full of customers. He decided to reward the employees by baking pizza for them himself. He prepared the food, and at the end of the day, they all sat together and ate. The food was delicious, and everyone loved it. The next day, Ryoma told the employees, I'll be hiring more staff soon, and I'll make sure to provide meals and improve the workflow. If only all managers were like Ryoma, life would be perfect. Then Ryoma returned to the Merchants Guild and asked the manager to send new employees, including a cook. She brought him 3 women and said, These 3 are from the same village. They came to Gimel City looking for work. The cook introduced herself and said, My name is Celia. I used to work as a chef in major hotels, and I'd like to work with you. Ryoma agreed and hired her along with the other 3 girls. Passed since the laundry opened, and things started going even better. Sales increased significantly. The staff were comfortable in their work, and when the Duke's family saw the line of customers waiting outside, they were delighted. The Duke said, I knew he'd succeed, but not this quickly. This puts us at ease, knowing we can leave him in the city on his own. The next day, Sergei met Ryoma and asked, How's work going? Ryoma replied, Everything is great. The employees you recommended are doing an excellent job. I've hired more, and my profits are increasing every day. Sergei said, What if I told you we could increase your profits even more? Ryoma asked, surprised. How would that happen? Sergei replied, You already supply our company with metal ingots and sticky slime threads that adventurers use. Now we want you to also supply us with waterproof fabric. As you know, the frog hunting season is near, and adventurers will be heading to the swamps. They'll need waterproof cloth, he continued. We need large quantities. You'll profit, and so will the company. Ryoma said, All right then, deal. That same night, Aliyah was with Ryoma and learned that he was producing the waterproof fabric in an abandoned cave. She said, I'll come with you tomorrow. The next day, Ryoma was working in the cave, and the sticky slime was doing the job. Aliyah said, I came with you today to practice the violin. Ryoma was surprised and said, I didn't know you played music. She replied, The birds I want to tame communicate through melodies, so I'm training to attract them and form a taming contract. When she began playing, Ryoma and the slime were captivated by her music. When she finished, he said, How about I make you that doll I promised? She happily replied, Of course, I'd love that. Ryoma then used his stone-shattering magic and sculpted a beautiful doll from stone that resembled Aliyah. She was deeply moved and thanked him. The next day, Ryoma made dolls resembling each member of the Duke's family. When they saw them, they were amazed. The Duke said to Aliyah, Take these figurines with you to school, so you won't feel lonely. She agreed happily, then said to Ryoma, Can you make a doll that looks like you? He said, Of course, I'll make one for you. Time passed quickly, and work in the laundry was running like clockwork. Ryoma continued visiting the cave, producing large amounts of waterproof cloth. At the same time, he trained with the slimes in combat. When he returned to the laundry, he discovered that sales had tripled because they had secured many cleaning contracts from blacksmiths, miners, and carpenters. He thanked thanked the employees because they were the reason for the increased income. Then he remembered that he hadn't given them any days off, so he said to them, "Choose. Either we close the laundry 1 day a week and everyone gets a break, or each of you gets a day off separately." The employees were touched by his words. None of them had ever worked for someone who cared about them, nor had they ever been given time off. At that moment, Celia the cook said, "The food is ready." Ryoma smiled and said, "You arrived right on time." Starving. The next day, when Ryoma went to the Adventurers Guild, the receptionist informed him that a group called the Seacam Harbor Party had arrived from a distant city, bringing with them a rare type of slime. They tried to sell it to the guild, but the guild refused, which left them deeply frustrated as they were in urgent need of money. Ryoma took the situation seriously and said to her, "Tell me where they are, quickly." She told him they were at a tavern, so he headed there immediately. When he arrived and asked about them, he found them in a terrible state. Their money had completely run out. They introduced themselves to him, and he told them that he owned a laundromat. He then asked about the slime they had discovered, and one of them responded, "I'm Shin, the leader of the group. Please, ask anything you'd like." Ryoma replied, "It's a pleasure to meet you. Show me the slime you brought. If it's truly rare, I'll buy it from you." When they showed him the slime, it was red and resembled blood. Ryoma immediately said, "I'll take it." He gave them 2 gold coins. Shin couldn't believe his luck and thanked Ryoma profusely for his generosity. Ryoma then said to him, "The frog hunting season is almost here. I advise you to get a permit from the guild and go hunting. I hope to see you at my laundromat. I promise you'll be pleased with the service." After leaving them, Ryoma used space magic and teleported to an abandoned mine where he cast a bonding spell with the slime. The slime accepted the taming immediately, allowing Ryoma to learn its characteristics. It turned out to be a blood-sucking slime. To confirm, he placed the slime near an animal corpse. The slime entered the body and absorbed all the blood inside. Ryoma said to himself, "This slime will be incredibly useful in fighting monsters. It will be able to eliminate them and drain their blood." Ryoma then returned to managing his laundromat, which was running exceptionally well. He found time to craft the doll Aaliyah had requested from him, and he also completed all his Adventurers Guild assignments. One day, Aaliyah told him that her father and stepmother would be training tomorrow in monster taming, and she asked him to accompany her. He smiled and said, "Of course." The next day, Ryoma went with Aaliyah, her father, and her stepmother to the place where the training in taming magic was to be held. There, Elise asked the group, "Who among you brave ones can tell me what taming magic means?" Elia replied, "It's when a tamer and a beast form a partnership contract, making the beast submit to the tamer. A bond is then formed between them, allowing them to communicate and act together." Elise said, "Excellent. Your explanation is spot on. Now, let's move to the next level and learn shared perception magic." She added, "This magic allows you to see and feel everything your tamed beast perceives and vice versa, which makes it extremely helpful when facing danger." Reinhardt commented, "This type of magic isn't something just any tamer can use. It requires great experience." After that, Elise presented them with 2 bird-like creatures and said, "Today, you will practice shared perception magic with these birds." Indeed, both participants began to communicate with the birds, and the birds agreed to form a bond and be controlled. Elise said, "I want you to focus on the bond between you and the birds, to see what they see." As usual, Ryoma succeeded on the first try and was able to view everything from the bird's perspective. Afterward, they sat down to rest and drink tea. The Duke said to Ryoma, "I thought this kind of magic would be difficult for you, but it seems nothing stands in your way." Elise added, "Ryoma still has much to learn." She then told him that she was a tamer, capable of summoning her personal beast, and indeed, within moments, a giant white wolf appeared and sat at her feet. At first, Ryoma thought it was going to attack her and was ready to intervene, but Elise reassured him and said, "This wolf is called Laruk Fenrir, and he poses no threat." Ryoma said, "I thought Laruk Fenrir beasts were just legends, not real." She answered, "They're no myth. They are larger than regular wolves, resemble them in shape, and are skilled in using ice magic. And by the way, I've tamed 20 of them." Ryoma was deeply amazed and said, "Taming even one Laruk Fenrir beast is incredibly difficult." Elise continued, "Even I have tamed 100 mutant wolves before." Ryoma looked at himself and said, "And here I was, proud of raising my slimes. They're nothing compared to the beasts Elise has tamed. The Duke said to him, Elise is a skilled tamer. Despite how hard it is to tame such creatures, she can handle taming many of them at once. Imagine, Ryoma, if your wife was better than you. Elise laughed and said, but don't forget, you're unbeatable with a sword. Then she added, what would you say if you knew that Jamil tames dragons? And the Duke too. He tames four-legged beasts, although he's modest and doesn't brag about it. She continued, by the way, Jamil tames fewer than 20 beasts, but half of them are dragons. When Ryoma asked where they kept all those beasts, Jamil said, we own a large estate where all the beasts are kept. It's guarded by dragons to prevent any escape. Elise said, as for my beasts, they live on a small mountain suited to their size. That mountain contains rare medicinal herbs found nowhere else, which is why the wolves guard it from poachers. Ryoma was astonished by everything he had learned about their beasts. From that day on, he continued training in magic with Elise to further develop his skills without neglecting his business. He produced a large amount of waterproof fabric and sold it to Serge. Then he went to the Adventurers Guild, where Maya told him that the frog hunting season would begin in just 3 days. She said, this is a great opportunity to catch frogs and sell them. It also makes for excellent training. At that moment, one of his companions said, we need the protective mask you wore when cleaning public baths, and also clothing that won't get damaged by lake water. Ryoma told them, everything you need can be found at Coral Import Company. When you go there, ask for the merchant Serge and tell him I sent you. He'll treat you well. The next day, the Duke and his family were having tea with Ryoma, and Aaliyah was very excited because the day after tomorrow she would go to the lake and use the guitar to catch lemur birds. But when Ryoma remembered that the Duke and his family would leave the city after Elise's hunt was over, he felt sad. The following day, the Duke, his knights, and Ryoma set out toward the lake. Elia looked exhausted from the long journey, her appearance reflecting her fatigue. When Ryoma met the Sakem Harbor adventurers, he stopped to greet them. Then he said to the Duke, you go on ahead to the lake. As they walked, Ryoma spoke with Shin and asked, how's everything going, my friend? Shin replied, I don't even know how to thank you. You bought the slime from us at a great price, and you introduced us to the rare frogs opportunity. We were able to catch a good amount and sell them at an excellent rate. We'll head to your laundromat after this to wash our clothes. We've grown used to it and don't know how we'll manage back in our city. They said their farewells and continued on their way, while Ryoma arrived at the lake. There he saw the beautiful lemur birds. He also saw his fellow adventurers trying to catch frogs before the lemur birds got to them. The Duke said to them, there's an adventurer attempting to tame a lemur bird. The adventurer began playing a flute, but his playing was dreadful. The Duke said, if the bird dislikes the music, it will let out a loud and annoying sound. And that's exactly what happened. The adventurer got angry, drew his sword, and tried to attack the bird, but the lemur retaliated with cutting magic that resembled powerful blasts aimed directly at him. Ryoma immediately stepped in and used earth magic to create a barrier between the adventurer and the lemur. Then one of the birds released an unbearably shrill sound that no one around the lake could endure, except for Ryoma. He managed to identify which bird was causing the sound among the others. Using soundproofing magic, he created a barrier around that bird, and the rest of the birds followed it and flew away from the lake. The Duke asked him, how were you able to withstand that terrible sound? He answered, did you forget? I can endure pain no matter how intense it is. But at that moment, Elia was deeply saddened because she had failed to tame any of the lemur beasts. Then Rain said, the type we encountered today is known as the nightmare bird. It's extremely rare and only appears once every 10 years. It uses dark magic, which grants it terrifying magical abilities, one of which is the sound you just heard. Ryuma responded, what do you think about searching for this bird's nests? But the guards explained how difficult that would be, as these birds build their nests in remote areas deep within the forest. Later that day, Ryuma stood by the lake with Eliaria, her father, and the rest of her family. They all remained hopeful that the birds would return. At that moment, Eliaria said, I still can't believe we're going to part ways, and each of us will go down our own path. Ryuma didn't know how to respond. He remained silent, lost in thought, until he remembered a story he had once read back on Earth. The main character had been in a similar situation and had told the heroine, we'll definitely meet again. Remembering this, Ryuma turned to Eliaria and said, don't worry, we will meet again. Hughes then tried to lighten the mood with a bit of humor, but Eliaria's father didn't seem amused. After all, she was still his daughter. The tense atmosphere soon faded when the lemur birds appeared once more. Eliaria was determined to tame them. She took out her violin and began to play a beautiful melody. The birds emerged from the lake and approached her, and everyone stood in awe as she successfully tamed 9 lemur birds at once. She then cast the control spell, and the birds agreed to form a contract with her, placing placing them under her command. At that moment, Ryuma used space magic to summon a guitar and began to play a beautiful tune of his own. To everyone's surprise, a nightmare bird appeared, accompanied by a group of lemur birds. Eliaria quickly reminded Ryuma to form the magical contract with them as well. Once he succeeded in taming the birds, the adventurers and Eliaria's family congratulated him. Taming lemur birds was notoriously difficult, but Ryuma's talent had allowed him to control a large number of them. Then Eliaria noticed that one of the birds she had tamed looked slightly different from the others. It turned out to be a rare, evolved subspecies called a spectral lemur bird, capable of using white magic, the most powerful form of magic. When they returned home, a large celebration was held to honor Eliaria for taming her first magical creature. It was also a farewell party for Ryuma, as her family would be leaving the city the following day. Eliaria was deeply saddened by the thought of parting from Ryuma. She told him, "I never really had any friends. All the children around me were always afraid to get close, either because of my family's status or because of my magical powers." She continued, "When I was 5, I was playing with an older boy. At the time, I hadn't yet learned how to control my magic, and I accidentally froze him. My parents stepped in quickly and apologized to his family, and they accepted the apology. But the boy went and told all the other children that I did it on purpose. From that day on, they all feared me. No one ever tried to become my friend again." After she finished her story, she noticed a look of concern on Ryuma's face and asked, "Are you afraid of me too?" He replied, "I could never be afraid of you." She smiled and said, "And I'm not afraid of you either. That's why I want you to have this." She pulled out an elegant box. Inside, Ryuma found a pendant with a deep red ruby. "My mother gave it to me as a gift for my 10th birthday," she said. Ryuma hesitated, "But this pendant is incredibly valuable and rare. I can't accept it." But she insisted, "I want you to keep it until we meet again. Friends give each other gifts when they part ways, so they can remember one another. I want you to remember me through this." Ryuma thought to himself, "Now I'm in a real dilemma. I have to give her something too." He looked around and, having no other options, offered her 2 slimes, one for cleaning and the other that feeds on garbage. "Remember me through them," he said with a soft smile. Eliaria laughed and teased, "All right, I'll think of you every time I see a garbage slime. How romantic." The next morning, everyone gathered to bid Ryuma farewell. They exchanged heartfelt goodbyes and promises. He promised Elise and the Duke that he would write to them regularly to let them know how he was doing. Then Eliaria told him, "Don't forget your promise. We'll meet again in 3 years, and once more in 6 years when I finish my studies. And if you forget, I'll punish you with something you won't be able to handle." She added, "My mother once punished my father for forgetting a promise between them, and I'm exactly like her in every way. So be careful." Ryuma nodded. "Don't worry, I won't forget." Since he still called her Miss, she said, "We're friends now. You should call me by my name, and from now on, I'll just call you Ryuma too. No more formalities." He agreed. "All right, it's a deal." Eliaria smiled, ran toward the carriage, and climbed in. Then she and her family left the city. As the carriage moved away, Eliaria couldn't hide her sorrow. One of the slimes handed her the flute she often played. As if asking her for one last tune, she took it gently and played a slow, sorrowful melody. Her tears flowed freely, and she made no attempt to stop them. Meanwhile, Ryuma decided to check in on his laundry business first, then head to the abandoned mines, where he planned to build a new home. He had made up his mind to leave the inn he had been staying in. He told himself, "I can't waste a single moment. I need to keep learning and improving, just like I promised Eliaria, the Duke, and their family." Starts with Ryoma dedicating all his energy to his work, successfully managing his laundry business. Everything ran under a precise system, and his reputation kept expanding day by day until his name echoed throughout the entire city of Gimel. Over time, he became known as the best in the field. Anyone seeking clean and reliable service would go to him without hesitation. After that, he headed to his laundromat located deep within the bamboo forest, a quiet place he built himself and made operate in perfect harmony. He always checked on his employees, personally supervising the workflow and ensuring everything was running smoothly. The workers handled every detail with precision, while slimes spread across every corner, performing cleaning and washing tasks efficiently without fatigue. Whenever they saw Ryoma, they gathered around him in greeting, and he returned their greetings before continuing his inspection. Then Carla spoke with him, pointing out that he was overworking himself, spending his entire day between labor, calculations, and supervision. She advised him to take better care of himself, to rest, and to organize his time so his life wouldn't revolve entirely around work. Ryoma listened and began seriously considering easing the pressure on himself. On the other hand, Ryoma realized that the new employees still lacked experience and had not yet mastered the basics. Despite his surprise, he decided to assign them additional tasks gradually and personally, oversee their training so they could quickly gain experience and become dependable. Suddenly, noise was heard from outside. Ryoma rushed out to find Li Ling restraining two men tightly. He immediately understood that they were trying to cause trouble. The men attempted to claim that their clothes had come out dirty, but when they presented them, it was clear they were completely clean. The customers mocked them, exposing their lies. They tried to escape in anger, but Li Ling remained in control, firmly holding the two swindlers without giving them any chance to flee. Ryoma looked at the windows and doors, thinking about enhancing the security further so no one could approach or cause trouble again. After that, he went to the Gimel mine and used his sticky slimes. The slimes filled a large container with a dense, viscous substance, while Ryoma used his magic to extract water from it repeatedly until it became more solid. With repetition, he managed to shape it into a material similar to glass. As a result, he created bulletproof glass panels capable of repelling any sudden attack. This made the place far more fortified. He then ordered the slimes to produce more panels to install throughout the laundromat. Later that night, Ryoma felt exhausted, but he noticed a different kind of slime. Approaching it, he discovered it was a newly evolved slime. With focus, he realized it had become a medicine slime. He was surprised that a poison slime had transformed this way, but then remembered he had dropped medicine the day before. It seemed one of the slimes absorbed it and evolved into a new type. After that, Ryoma gave medicine to several other poison slimes, and over time more medicine slimes appeared. This new type showed him how to produce potions in a stable way. He was amazed by the high quality of the potions they produced. With further analysis, he also discovered an antiseptic substance that could be used for sterilization, making him feel prepared for any potential health crisis. After all that, Ryoma decided to visit the rulers, as it had been a long time since his last meeting with them. The scene then shifts to Ryoma inside a church, where he approached a magical crystal sphere and used it to transfer himself to the realm of the rulers. There, he met a new ruler named Taikon, the ruler of crafts and commerce, responsible for trade and industry. Ryoma showed him the dolls he had made for Eliaria and explained the crafting process. Taikon was greatly impressed and replicated the dolls. Then Ryoma began telling his story, how he was transported from Earth to this world and started a new life. Taikon was fascinated by Ryoma, expressing a desire to learn the crafts he practiced in his previous life, while also praising his remarkable skill. Ryoma continued speaking about his passion for craftsmanship and his love for constant improvement. After that, Ryoma learned about other rulers and that the white space was connected to his world, meaning he could visit them anytime. He also met Filnovlia, the ruler of magic and knowledge, a rarely seen ruler who possessed vast awareness of everything happening in the world. After the meeting, Ryoma returned to his world. Opening his eyes, he found himself back in the church. He bid farewell to the receptionist and left, intending to return to his laundromat. When he arrived, Carla welcomed him and informed him that everything was running smoothly, with no issues or complaints. Ryoma felt relieved and immediately began talking about the bulletproof glass panels he had created, emphasizing that he didn't want anyone to even think about approaching the place. He then showed the panels to Li Ling and asked her to test their strength. She grabbed one and struck it with all her force, but it barely reacted. At that moment, both Carla and Calum watched in disbelief, unable to believe such durability came from a material originally made by slimes. From another side, Faye suggested to his daughter using enhancement magic to try breaking the panel. Li Ling agreed, enhancing her body with magic before striking again, but the panel held firm once more. She was impressed by the idea, seeing it as an effective form of protection, though she pointed out a clear flaw. Using this glass for all windows could prevent escape during emergencies like fires. After a short discussion, they decided to leave some windows normal as emergency exits. After that, Ryoma remembered his conversation with Serge about expansion, and Carla took the opportunity to bring up the topic again. She told him honestly that he had become #1 in his field, his reputation was strong, and this was the perfect time to open a new branch before any competitors appeared. Ryoma had previously met with Serge to begin discussing a new project. Serge encouraged him and suggested seeking support from the Merchants Guild to help market the potions produced by his slimes, which would make it easier for him to spread within the market and provide him with official backing and stability. After that, Ryoma headed to Galissa, the guildmaster, and presented the potion he had created using his slimes. She was impressed by his ability to combine it with a carbonated drink like Sprite, producing a purple-colored beverage with a surprisingly acceptable taste. She then asked him about the opening of his second branch, confirming that the Merchants Guild would support him in any location he chose and would step in to assist him if he faced any obstacles during expansion or competition. On the other hand, Ryoma became deeply absorbed in thinking about the second branch, carefully calculating costs and imagining how he would manage the entire operation. During that time, he received a letter from Eliaria, informing him that they had safely arrived at the capital and that everyone was in good health. She also reassured him that she was taking care of his slimes and checking on them daily. Reading the letter filled Ryoma with warmth and relief, and a faint smile appeared on his face, pushing him to make a firm decision to open a second laundromat without hesitation. After that, Ryoma began training his employees in the basics of self-defense so they could protect themselves if needed. During one of the sessions, a fruit was suddenly thrown toward him and he tried to cut it like in a fruit slicing game. However, he quickly realized that his staff wasn't sharp enough, making him understand that real combat required far more precision and control than he had imagined. From another side, Ryoma presented his slimes to Taylor, the Tamer's guildmaster. Taylor thanked him for introducing such unique cleaning slimes, explaining that this type could be extremely useful and beneficial for many citizens across the city. In another moment, a furious man entered the laundromat and claimed that his shirt had been torn, accusing the slimes of causing the damage. Ryoma remained calm, quickly seeing through the false accusation. He summoned a cleaning slime in front of everyone and explained clearly that slimes had no claws or teeth, and their bodies were too soft to tear fabric. This logical explanation exposed the man's lie in front of the customers. As the situation escalated, the man suddenly rushed forward, attempting to attack Ryoma. However, Ryoma reacted instantly, moving with controlled speed and subduing him with ease, throwing him to the ground without causing any serious harm, ending the confrontation immediately. After that, the man was arrested, and Carla began to suspect that there might be a hidden group behind these incidents, sending people to create chaos. Although Ryoma felt concerned about his work and reputation, Carla reassured him, explaining that Calum was already investigating the matter to uncover the truth. Later, Ryoma met his friend Asagi after a long time and felt genuinely happy to see him again. His attention was drawn to the katana Asagi carried, a long Japanese sword with a sharp and elegant design. When he asked about it, Asagi explained that such swords were brought from the capital and were expensive due to their precise craftsmanship and high quality, though he personally obtained his from his family. When Asagi asked if he knew how to use a katana, Ryoma explained that his grandfather had taught him swordsmanship from a young age, training him in precision, control, and focus. Their conversation continued naturally until the afternoon, filled with mutual respect and shared interest. After that, Ryoma decided to forge his own katana to use as his primary weapon. He gathered iron, sand, and charcoal, attempting to shape the blade with his own hands. However, he lacked proper knowledge of forging techniques, temperature control, and how to manipulate the metal without breaking it. Despite repeated attempts, the results were not satisfying. During this, he remembered that he owned a spear and retrieved it from his magic storage. Although he was skilled in using it and could control it effectively in combat, he still wished to have a katana as his main weapon, especially because it was lighter and faster. This desire brought back memories of his childhood, when he crafted weapons alongside his father, learning how to handle metal and fire. He also remembered that his spear possessed a powerful hidden ability not found in ordinary weapons, yet his heart remained attached to the idea of wielding a traditional sword. On the following day, Ryoma learned that the problems occurring in his laundromat were not just random scams, but part of a larger conflict between hostile groups and the Merchants Guild. It became clear that Taylor was working toward achieving coexistence between humans and monsters, while certain organizations were trying to disrupt this effort and spread chaos. At that moment, Ryoma felt that the matter had become personal, and he decided to support Taylor and protect both his work and the stability around him. Later that night, Ryoma went to check on the new employees who had come from the Tamers Guild. It turned out they were researchers specializing in slimes, and their eyes shone with excitement as they spoke about their experiments. They expressed happiness at working with him and studying his slimes up close. They also revealed that their previous company treated them poorly, placing heavy pressure on them without support, and that working conditions had been exhausting. During their conversation, it became clear that slime research suffered from a severe lack of funding despite its importance. Ryoma calmly explained the mechanism of slime evolution, stating that they transform depending on the type of food they consume and the environment they live in. The researchers were amazed by this information and eagerly asked to learn more. Their discussion continued for hours, while Ryoma felt a deep sense of satisfaction after finding people who shared his passion. In another place, as Ryoma was returning alone at night, he sensed men following him through the darkness. He immediately increased his speed, but one of them suddenly launched an attack. In that instant, Ryoma used his magic and moved onto the rooftop of a nearby building, then quickly summoned his lemur birds from a distance using a spell. The birds arrived swiftly, striking down the criminals within moments. During that, Ryoma tried to understand the reason behind the attack, but one of them summoned a monster and attacked again. However, the lemur birds intervened just in time and protected him. Soon after, Worgen, the guild master, appeared and helped him control the situation. In the end, a group of knights arrived and arrested the criminals. The next day, Ryoma informed his employees about what had happened, warning them to remain cautious, especially with knights now stationed around the area for protection. After that, he met with 3 guild leaders and learned that a malicious man was behind the attack, trying to pressure him. Galissa suggested that instead of staying on the defensive, he should use his intelligence and strength to set a trap for his enemies. That night, Ryoma moved quietly through the streets, hunting down criminals with speed and precision. He managed to capture many of them without leaving a trace, coordinating closely with the knights. After each encounter, he treated the injured thieves using his slimes. This idea came from Galissa, ensuring that the criminals would bear the cost of their own treatment and think twice before causing trouble again. From another side, Ryoma demonstrated remarkable skill in both planning and execution, earning a significant reward from one of the knights in recognition of his courage and assistance. In the following days, he returned to training the girls in self-defense to improve their skills. He also gained a new security guard for the laundromat, someone recommended by Jeff, who himself became a dedicated personal guard. After that, they gathered for lunch together. Ryoma was impressed by the taste of the fresh bread, and the atmosphere was filled with laughter and warmth. At that moment, he felt as if he was among a real family, not just co-workers. The next day, Carla showed him the laundromat's profits, which had increased significantly. The numbers exceeded expectations, and she explained that the 3 slime researchers had performed exceptionally well and contributed greatly to product development. Later, Ryoma met Galissa again, and she presented him with several suitable locations to purchase land and open his second branch. Together, they began evaluating these places based on customer flow and business activity. During this time, he received another letter from Eliaria, telling him she was preparing seriously for school and that her magic skills were gradually improving. She also thanked him again for teaching her the water magic spell, saying she could now use it with ease. Returning to the main matter, Ryoma was now fully prepared to open his second laundromat and began a new journey toward a different city with a clear plan and greater ambition. In the days that followed, he wrote a letter to Eliaria, informing her that the new branch was about to open. She was amazed and encouraged him to keep going. At the same time, Ryoma arrived in a new city called Lenov and was impressed by its beauty and organized structure. He carried a letter from Galissa addressed to Piora Sayonji. Upon arrival, he discovered the Sayonji Trading Company and was struck by its scale and organization, admiring Piora's management style. During that time, Miyabi approached him and asked if he needed help. Ryoma explained he was looking for Piora, only to be surprised when she revealed she was his daughter. Moments later, Piora himself appeared, joking with his daughter and teasingly asking Ryoma if he was trying to get her attention. After that, Ryoma politely introduced himself, bowed respectfully, and handed over the letter he carried. Piora then told him he would help him open his second branch in the city, making the process much easier with his support. Miyabi was surprised by this decision, unable to understand how someone his age could handle such responsibility. Later, she discovered that Ryoma was only 1 year younger than her, which increased her admiration. She apologized for her earlier reaction, and Ryoma smiled, assuring her it was not a problem. He seemed excited to spend more time with them, while Piora continued teasing his daughter as usual. From another side, Ryoma realized that Piora was a skilled businessman with a playful personality who handled matters quickly and efficiently. After that, Piora took him to the Merchants Guild, explaining along the way that he had already completed most of the procedures and paperwork on his behalf to save time. Ryoma felt deeply grateful, as all that remained was reviewing and signing the contracts. In another moment, Ryoma was amazed by the grandeur of the Merchants Guild building, which looked massive like a fortress. Piora explained that all guilds in the city were gathered within this building to make cooperation easier. He also mentioned the existence of a dragon guild and asked Ryoma to look out the window to see it for himself. When Ryoma looked out, he saw a vast field filled with numerous dragons. He learned that they were used to transport goods and people between cities with speed and safety. Piora explained that this cooperation between guilds was the reason behind the city's prosperity, revealing that one of his ancestors had established this system, including aerial transportation using dragons. During that, Ryoma was surprised to learn that Piora's grandfather had been a reincarnated person from Earth, just like him, who started from nothing and built a complete system that benefited the entire city. After completing his registration at the Merchants Guild in Lenov, Piora took him to see the land that would soon belong to him for his new laundromat. The location was spacious and well-positioned. Ryoma thanked Piora for his great support, while Piora enthusiastically explained the layout and details of the place. Returning to the matter, the two walked through the site, imagining how the laundromat would look once completed. Ryoma decided to send a message to his managers in Gimel, updating them on the progress. He summoned a limwar bird, tied the letter to its leg, and sent it flying swiftly toward the city. In the following days, Piora offered Ryoma a place to stay in his home and promised to prepare a special meal to ease his fatigue. Ryoma felt truly happy, especially after days of relying on preserved food that lacked flavor. Later, they gathered for a meal where Miyabi served miso soup along with white rice. Ryoma was surprised by the familiar Japanese food, feeling as if he had returned to old memories. He was especially pleased to find that soy sauce was easily available in this world. As he ate, his enjoyment was clear, and Miyabi commented that she was happy to see his more childlike side, since he usually acted with a level of maturity beyond his age. From another side, Piora continued joking with his daughter, mentioning that she could learn a lot from Ryoma's diligence. It was also revealed that Miyabi would soon travel to the capital to begin her studies. After that, Ryoma told them that he was an E-rank adventurer and planned to take on some quests the next day. Both Miyabi and Piora warned him about the danger, as strong monsters had recently appeared around the city, leaving very few suitable missions for someone of his rank. On the other hand, despite the presence of adventurers, there were barely any E-rank tasks available due to the high danger level. Ryoma remembered hearing about the sudden appearance of powerful monsters, but he wasn't worried, as he was used to living in dangerous forests and facing even stronger creatures. Speaking of that, Ryoma expressed his desire to face a smash boar, a massive and powerful beast. Piora admired his enthusiasm, seeing potential profit in selling its meat, while Miyabi became annoyed at her father encouraging such risk for business purposes. Their exchange continued, with Miyabi scolding her father, while Piora reassured her and expressed confidence in Ryoma's abilities, even asking him to bring one if he managed to hunt it. Afterward, Miyabi accompanied Ryoma to purchase materials for the new laundromat's furniture. Elsewhere, Piora later went to inspect Ryoma's new property, only to be shocked by the sight of slimes actively working. Both he and Miyabi were amazed, unable to believe that slimes could build furniture and move wood with such precision. Later that afternoon, Ryoma headed out to complete some quests. Miyabi advised him to be careful and return early. Despite that, he felt slightly frustrated due to the lack of suitable missions. Returning to the matter, Ryoma decided to gather medicinal herbs to make use of his time. Suddenly, a limor bird belonging to Eliaria appeared before him, carrying a letter. She congratulated him on opening his second laundromat, telling him that she had spoken about him to her parents, and that they were proud of him and happy for his success, while also reminding him not to overwork himself. During that moment, a massive smash boar suddenly appeared, chasing two terrified adventurers as the ground shook beneath its weight. Ryoma immediately prepared himself, drawing his bow from his magic storage and firing arrows, but the beast barely reacted. Without hesitation, Ryoma decided to face it alone. He steadied himself, focused his energy, and activated his combat skills. Using the Buddha's palm technique, a precise and powerful strike, he rushed forward and delivered a direct blow that sent the beast crashing to the ground. Moments later, he confirmed it had lost consciousness, feeling relieved that the battle ended quickly. After that, the two adventurers rushed toward him, thanking him for saving their lives. They told him they were fine, but their companion had suffered a severe injury and urgently needed treatment. Without hesitation, Ryoma offered to use his healing magic to help her. During that, Ryoma waited for the adventurers to return with the injured girl, and in the meantime, he summoned his bloody slime. He ordered it to quickly draw the blood from the Smashboar's body so the meat could be preserved in the best possible condition. After that, once the injured girl was brought back, Ryoma focused and cast healing magic on her, while his healing slimes helped speed up the process. Within moments, the wound closed and her condition stabilized. The adventurers expressed deep gratitude and offered him a reward, explaining that materials from a Smashboard sold for a high price. However, Ryoma refused to keep everything for himself and chose to divide the reward fairly among them. On the other hand, during their conversation, they discovered that he was only an E-rank adventurer, the rank for beginners, and they were stunned that someone of such a low rank had defeated a monster of that level alone. After that, they returned to the guild with the defeated beast to have it officially registered. Miyabi was upset by Ryoma's actions because he had ignored her warning and faced such danger alone, and she continued to look at him with concern. From another side, one of the Adventurers Guild staff came to ask for the details of what had happened, but after hearing the full story, Ryoma was not punished, since it was clear that he had only been defending himself and other adventurers. Afterward, Ryoma agreed to sell all the meat to Piora. During the inspection, someone noticed that the meat was almost completely free of blood, so Ryoma explained that his bloody slime specialized in drawing blood with precision without ruining the meat. Piora was impressed by the idea and asked for the slime so he could make use of it as well, but Ryoma refused, explaining that he had only one and needed it for his own work. In the days that followed, Ryoma received the rewards for the quests he had completed. Then Piora came to him excitedly, asking whether he had any ideas for new foods that could be sold in the market. Miyabi felt embarrassed by her father, since he always seemed to think about business even during normal conversation. Speaking of that, Ryoma told them that he had a few ideas from his previous life. He put on an apron and began cooking. He cut the meat into equal portions, prepared the vegetables, then stir-fried them together over medium heat. After that, he added the right seasonings and prepared a ginger pork dish he had known for a long time. Elsewhere, Miyabi tasted the dish, and the moment she tried it, her eyes widened in shock. She confirmed that the flavor was special and unlike anything she had eaten before. Piora tasted it as well and was equally impressed by the flavor and seasoning. Miyabi praised Ryoma's skill and considered him more like a professional cook than just the owner of a laundromat. After that, news of the new dish spread quickly, and a large crowd gathered to buy it, forming long lines in front of the place. Returning to the event, Ryoma arrived at his new laundromat, and Carla came with a group of workers from the city of Gimel to help him in the beginning. Ryoma welcomed the new employees with a smile, introduced himself, and explained the work system to them. During that, he told them they could ask him or Carla anytime if they needed help or clarification. The employees responded enthusiastically and explained that they had already experienced a trial day at his laundromat in Gimel, and they had been impressed by the system there. Ryoma was happy that Carla had managed to find excellent workers who could truly be relied on. After that, he and his team began promoting the laundromat in the streets and markets, explaining to people the abilities of his bamboo slimes and how they helped with cleaning and drying quickly and efficiently. On the other hand, after several days, both Piora and Miyabi were impressed by Ryoma's diligence and focus in his work. Piora stated that Ryoma was a successful person in his field and would surely earn great wealth in the future. Looking at his new laundromat, Ryoma recalled memories of his previous life and compared them with his current reality, feeling happy that he had met kind people during his journey. After that, he officially opened the Bamboo Forest Laundry and sent a letter to the Jamil family informing them of the successful opening of the second branch, expressing his joy as his business continued to grow step by step. That evening, he thanked his employees one by one and wished them rest after a long day of work. The next morning, Ryoma gathered all the employees to speak with them. He told them of his intention to return to the city of Gimel, and it felt like a farewell. They assured him that they would continue working hard and take good care of the place, and they advised him to take care of himself as well. Miyabi also said goodbye to him and wished him more success. During that, Ryoma asked Miyabi for a simple favor, to accompany Eliaria at school and look after her if she ever needed anything. Miyabi agreed with a smile. After bidding farewell to everyone, Ryoma departed for Gimel, feeling satisfied. After that, he received a letter from Eliaria telling him that she would begin school soon and was currently training to control several monsters so she could become stronger. She had also become more skillful at handling her limor bird, and she wished for him to continue succeeding and growing stronger as well. Returning to the event, Ryoma met the merchant Serge to show him some new goods he had found. Serge then began speaking excitedly about his favorite hobby, building cars inspired by the Fast and Furious series. He showed Ryoma a small vehicle that moved using magic and explained that the power source of these models, known as fast wheels, was concentrated magic stored inside them. Elsewhere, Ryoma learned that there was an annual race for these cars in the capital, with many competitors taking part. Serge was extremely enthusiastic and began showing him the parts he had collected to improve the vehicles. He managed to draw Ryoma's interest and pushed him to think more seriously about magical tools and how he could develop them himself. From another side, Ryoma discovered that his cleaning slimes had been feeding on coal during his absence. Callum apologized because he had not noticed it sooner, and also informed him that the slimes had stopped eating dirt since then. Ryoma did not get angry. Instead, he expressed appreciation for Callum's careful observation. From that point on, Callum realized that slimes evolved according to the kind of food they consumed, and he decided to record everything they ate carefully in order to monitor their evolution step by step. The following night, Ryoma wrote a letter to Eliaria. She was surprised to learn that the cleaning slimes had eaten coal and asked him to inform her of any new abilities if they evolved. She also wished for him to enjoy exploring the magical tools market and discovering everything new there. On the other hand, the next day Ryoma informed Callum that he would return to his homeland for a short time. Callum replied that he would continue managing the work, assuring him that everything in Gimel would remain stable. But when he learned that Ryoma's homeland was the Great Forest of Skulls, he was deeply shocked, as it was known to be filled with extremely dangerous monsters. Ryoma simply laughed and explained that he wanted to raise his rank and test his current strength against those monsters to see how much he had improved. After that, Ryoma entrusted the laundromat's management to Callum, confident that everything would run smoothly. Later that afternoon, he headed to the guild where Malin welcomed him warmly. He asked for advice, but at that moment a new employee encountered a problem, so Malin quickly stepped in to help and instructed the adventurers to head out on their quests before the crowd grew. Afterward, she introduced him to the new employee, Palma, who was still new to her position. Ryoma greeted her kindly and reassured her that things would become easier with time. From another side, Malin asked Ryoma for assistance, so Palma handled his request. He told them that he wanted to raise his rank and presented a list of monsters he planned to hunt. Palma reviewed it and explained that he would need official hunting quests, along with detailed information about the monsters in the Great Forest to prepare properly. Elsewhere, Malin expressed concern for him, but Ryoma assured her that he had grown up in that forest and knew it well, and that he had also left some important belongings there. She understood, but still urged him to be cautious. After that, Palma prepared the necessary documents for his quests, while Malin realized that his strength came from surviving in such a dangerous environment. Returning to the event, Palmer later arrived with the rank promotion contracts. Ryoma signed them immediately, officially beginning his advancement. He also stored an item in his magic item box, while Malin was pleased with how quickly he completed everything. Afterward, Malin offered him missions that could help him rank up faster. Palma explained that a client had requested a fast delivery through Amazon, but there weren't enough couriers to deliver it on time. She believed Ryoma was the best fit for the task, thanks to his item box magic, which allowed him to transport goods quickly and safely. Ryoma agreed to deliver the shipment to the city of Caliban, where a large magical tools market was being held. 2 days later, he arrived in Caliban and learned that the next day would mark the opening of 6 different magical markets, each specializing in a specific type of item. He delivered the shipment to a workshop where he met a man named Damon, who had expected a delay. Grateful for the timely delivery, Damon thanked him warmly and signed the receipt. As Ryoma prepared to leave, Damon invited him for tea. He found the taste quite enjoyable and asked about the type of leaves used, discovering it was a new variety to him, and thanked him for the hospitality. At that moment, Serge arrived, and the workshop owner was surprised to learn that the two were friends. Ryoma explained that he had delivered the shipment on behalf of the guild, and it turned out that Serge had been doing business with Damon for a long time. After that, Damon took them inside his workshop to show them his projects, proudly presenting the cars he had built. He was a skilled mechanic and had created an advanced version of a Mercedes-AMG Maybach, which impressed Ryoma with its high level of detail and craftsmanship. Then another model caught his attention, a Mercedes-Benz G-Class G-Wagon, a luxurious and expensive vehicle. Serge was amazed at Damon's ability to build and maintain such machines with ease. Later, Damon mentioned that he was saving money to buy a car for his grandson in the future, seeing him as his pride. Ryoma and Serge commented that the child might become a genius one day. On the other hand, Ryoma received a magical tool made by Damon's grandson as a gift. Serge advised him to keep it, but Ryoma explained that he still needed to find a place to stay since he planned to explore the markets the next day. Serge then guided him to a suitable inn. After that, Ryoma booked a room at the same inn where Serge was staying, and they agreed to meet later for dinner. During that time, Ryoma attempted to create a slime-based machine to produce coins, but the idea did not succeed. Instead, when Serge came to pick him up, he had managed to create a small music box. The box played the song The Box by Roddy Ricch, and Serge was impressed by the rhythm, suggesting turning the idea into a business and selling these music boxes. After that, dinner was served. Grilled steak with several side dishes. Once they finished, they walked through the city, and Serge suggested asking Damon to produce the music boxes in large quantities. Ryoma hesitated, but Serge explained that Damon had trainees and that increased work would benefit him. Before sleeping, Ryoma wrote to Eliaria, telling her about the music box and his plan for a new project, expressing his excitement to hear her opinion. The next day, the magical tools markets opened. Ryoma and Serge explored the crowded stalls before visiting Damon, who showed them small car models similar to toy racers, along with engine components he was developing. Elsewhere, Ryoma met Damon's grandson, Elon, who was eager to play with him. Noticing the child's boredom due to lack of toys, Ryoma decided to make something for him. Using his materials, he created a spinning top arena. At the same time, Serge showed Damon the music box, and Damon agreed to produce it in large quantities, recognizing its potential. After that, Ryoma taught Elon how to use the spinning tops, but the child struggled. Damon stepped in enthusiastically, demonstrating how to launch them properly. Ryoma was surprised by his excitement and realized he was a longtime fan of such games. He then gifted the arena to both of them, making the child very happy. Returning to the main event, everyone was in high spirits. Ryoma wrote to Eliaria again, telling her about the market and the toy he had created. A few days later, Ryoma returned to the city of Gimel and felt happy when his slimes welcomed him as usual. Though he intended to rest, he noticed that his cleaning slimes had evolved into a new type, deodorant slimes. After examining them, he discovered they could absorb unpleasant odors and purify the surrounding air. Today, he explained this development, noting that the slimes produced a substance capable of absorbing smells. He decided to use them inside laundry bags to keep clothes fresh. After that, he went to the Gimel mine and prepared food for the slimes. While the metal and iron slimes were playing together, a new type of iron slime suddenly appeared, inspiring a new idea. Ryoma transformed the slime into a sword and began testing it. The result was a sharp, durable, and powerful blade, opening new possibilities for future uses. The next day, inside the laundry shop, Callum told Ryoma to get proper rest and enough sleep, worried that his constant slime experiments might exhaust him. After that, Mia informed him about a problem with the new odor absorption bag. Ryoma realized it had reached its maximum capacity and could no longer absorb more. He told her he would provide a new one and later improve its design. On the other hand, Mia thanked him and wished him success in creating a treatment capable of eliminating unpleasant odors. During that time, Ryoma noticed children facing a problem and immediately offered help. He instructed his sticky slimes to repair their cart. The slimes spread over the damaged area and gradually restored it. The children were amazed, especially since he was their age, yet a skilled monster Tamer. After that, he learned the two children were adventurers taking G-rank quests to survive and help others. Ryoma understood their difficult situation. From another side, Beck thought Ryoma looked down on them, but Ryoma clarified the misunderstanding, stating he respected anyone who worked hard. He then gave them a magic tool to prevent garbage odors. Beck and Wes expressed great gratitude. After that, Beck took him to the church, where they cleaned once a month in exchange for sweets and basic training. Ryoma gladly helped without arrogance. Elsewhere, Ryoma met a new lord, Villanovlia, who already knew about him and found him interesting. During that, Villanovlia asked about Japan and tested his character. Sensing his honesty, he said Ryoma was a good young man and was pleased to meet him. Returning to the main event, Beck told Ryoma to focus, while Wes defended him. After hard work, the church was completely clean. After that, Ryoma learned they also received combat training lessons. Suddenly, Worgen, the guildmaster, appeared and was surprised to see Ryoma. He explained he was only helping, while Beck and Wes were shocked he was also an adventurer. The biggest surprise came when Worgen revealed Ryoma was an E-rank adventurer. After that, Worgen trained the children. Ryoma noticed Wes's exceptional strength and speed. Beck attacked Worgen but was quickly defeated, so Worgen advised him to rely on strategy. At the same time, the children trained with Ryoma's slimes, which helped them learn safely. Suddenly, Worgen challenged Ryoma. He attacked quickly, but Ryoma blocked steadily, astonishing everyone. After the fight, they thanked him. On the other hand, Worgen offered him a teaching role, but Ryoma politely refused. Worgen respected this and called him a treasure to Gimel. Ryoma decided to keep helping others. During that time, Ryoma received a letter from Eliaria, saying she was learning to make sweets and would make him one someday. He was happy and wished her well. A few days later, she wrote again about transferring to the academy, feeling nervous but comforted by his letters, and wished him enjoyment at the founding festival. Returning to the main event, Ryoma thought of sending her a gift. He rejected ordinary ideas and chose to create something with alchemy. He made a special soap and shaped it like the monsters they had tamed together. After that, he asked Dolce about the festival and learned of a major event in Gimel. From another perspective, Ryoma noted many workers moved to Gimel due to its prosperity. Callum then informed him of a letter from Carla. Elsewhere, Ryoma learned his cleaning slimes were multiplying in Lenneth, which could become a problem. He immediately used teleportation magic to reach the second laundry at night, where Carla waited anxiously. During that time, researchers reported unusual slime growth. They explained 75 new slimes had appeared. Ryoma then tamed them one by one, ensuring they were fully under control. After that, Ryoma sat down with the researchers and asked for a detailed explanation of the slime research results from the past period. He was deeply impressed by the reports prepared by Riblia and Tony, as they had recorded every observation, experiment, and change with remarkable precision, including slime behavior, feeding patterns, reproduction rates, and their response to the surrounding environment. During that, Ryoma felt satisfied, as they had reached a method to control slime reproduction instead of leaving it random. He stayed with them throughout the night, discussing details and exploring new ways to utilize slimes in cleaning, industry, and even combat. On the other hand, the next morning, Ryoma headed to visit his merchant friend Piora. As soon as he entered his company, he noticed a strong and unpleasant smell filling the place. Piora appeared and explained that someone had gifted him preserved fish with an extremely pungent odor. He hesitated at first, but then remembered that Ryoma had handled a similar issue before. Ryoma summoned a deodorizing slime from his dimensional storage and explained that it could absorb any foul smell. The slime quickly absorbed the odor, restoring the place to normal, and even the fish lost its smell. After that, Piora offered him a portion of the fish as a token of thanks. Ryoma accepted it and expressed his gratitude. He then mentioned his intention to visit Miyabi, but Piora told him she had gone to school to continue her studies. Returning to the main event, Ryoma went back to his laundry in Gimel, where Kalum welcomed him and informed him that the employees' families had sent him gifts. Jin's family wanted to thank him for providing him with decent work, offering barley and a grain called samisa with a distinctive aroma. Ryoma felt the gift was too generous and didn't want to accept it without compensation, but Jin explained it was surplus harvest. Still, Ryoma insisted on paying, and after some discussion, they agreed. From another side, Ryoma held a business meeting where Serge presented him with a prototype of music boxes. He informed him that Damon was enthusiastic about production and that sales would begin soon. Serge suggested showcasing the product at the founding festival to benefit from the publicity provided by the Semloid Entertainment Group. When Ryoma asked about them, Serge explained they would perform near the laundry and requested to use the place as a dressing area. Ryoma immediately agreed, realizing the benefit of cooperation. Elsewhere, a scream was heard from the kitchen. Ryoma rushed in to find Selma disturbed by the smell of Shibaya fish. The girls were cooking using samisa spices, which intensified the odor. Selma explained that the smell was worse than usual, so Ryoma summoned a deodorizing slime, which instantly absorbed the odor. After that, they completed the cooking, and the dish turned into grilled fish, with a pleasant aroma and delicious taste. After that, Selma suggested expanding the use of these spices due to their unique flavor. In the evening, everyone gathered to eat in a warm, family-like atmosphere, praising her skills. Li Ling also offered to introduce dishes from her own culture to enrich the menu. During that, Calum suggested opening a food stall at the founding festival to present dishes from different cultures represented by the staff. Ryoma hesitated at first, but the team's enthusiasm convinced him. Everyone began training to prepare the dishes in anticipation of the festival, filling the atmosphere with excitement. On the other hand, Calum mentioned that the Semloid group would arrive the same day, and Ryoma told everyone to enjoy the festival the next day. That evening, Ryoma sat in his office thinking about the shortage of temporary workers and began planning how to organize tasks efficiently. Suddenly, Sergei knocked on the door and introduced him to Brynance, the leader of the Semloid group. Brynance expressed his admiration for the music box and described Ryoma as a creative person. Ryoma welcomed them and offered them rest. During their conversation, he learned that their journey to Gimel had been difficult due to the appearance of giant ants threatening the roads and frightening travelers. Ryoma felt a sense of responsibility and decided to head to the Adventurers Guild the next day to deal with the issue. Brynance admired his enthusiasm and willingness to help, praising his kindness and noting that the rulers valued him. At the same time, Ryoma felt that Brynance's personality was somewhat unusual and overly impulsive. The next morning, Ryoma went to the Adventurers Guild and asked Palma for quests related to the giant ants. Without hesitation, she provided him with a suitable quest, which he immediately accepted. After that, he summoned his lemur birds and ordered them to spread out to search for ant colonies. Using a shared senses magic, he focused until he was able to locate multiple colonies. While on his way, he spotted his friends Wes and Beck. He approached them with a smile and greeted them, and they were happy to see him. A girl standing with them looked at him with curiosity, wondering who he was. Beck introduced his team to Ryoma, mentioning that he was the well-known slime tamer they had heard about before. After that, Ryoma met the rest of the team. They were all from the slums and had formed their party some time ago. Vinya explained that they collected ant shells because they had a blacksmith who forged equipment for them at a low cost, making it extremely important. However, their main problem was that they couldn't easily locate ant colonies. On the other hand, Ryoma offered his help, and everyone thanked him sincerely. Beck tried searching the area but found nothing. At that moment, Ryoma opened his dimensional storage and brought out his slimes, astonishing the team with their number and organization. During that, Ryoma distributed the slimes across specific locations and ordered them to dig and lure the ants out of their nests. Suddenly, a monster appeared before them, but Ryoma eliminated it instantly without effort. Shortly after, larger numbers of ants began emerging, and he told them this was their chance to fight. His goal was to give Beck's team real combat experience, so he stood back, observing while ready to intervene if necessary. From another side, the young adventurers fought with all their strength, showing impressive skill for their age. Ryoma was pleased with their performance and praised their courage and coordination. After that, one final giant ant appeared, so Ryoma stepped in and defeated it quickly to avoid prolonging the battle. They continued hunting until sunset and managed to gather a large quantity. Returning to the main event, Beck expressed his happiness, saying it was their best hunting day in a long time. They returned to the city and thanked Ryoma for helping them and ensuring their safety. Lumel expressed her desire to hunt with him again the next day, but Beck insisted on sticking to their responsibilities. Elsewhere, Ryoma had an idea. He invited them to the laundry and offered them work during the founding festival. Calum thought for a moment, then agreed to hire them part-time during the festival after a quick evaluation. The children were overjoyed and grateful, feeling that a new opportunity had opened for them. After that, Ryoma invited them to celebrate inside the laundry, and the atmosphere was filled with excitement. He gave a short speech welcoming everyone and expressing his happiness at having them join the team, hoping they would enjoy the festival. During that, the staff began serving the food they had prepared, and everything was delicious. Brynance praised the gathering, while Solio apologized for his niece Maya's earlier behavior. After that, Ryoma learned that they were planning to perform a sword show at the festival, which increased everyone's excitement. Suddenly Maya appeared and expressed her admiration for Ryoma's food. He smiled and told her there were more sweets she would surely enjoy. At the same time, Beck tasted some cookies and liked them very much, and the other children also showed clear enjoyment. After finishing the meal, Beck and his team thanked Ryoma again, seeing him as a role model. However, Wes seemed hesitant, as if carrying an inner concern. He approached Ryoma and asked for advice, admitting that he still felt afraid when facing monsters. On the other hand, Ryoma reassured him, telling him that having supportive friends was the most important thing and that courage comes with time and experience. Each battle would make him stronger. His friends supported him as well, and finally, he smiled, feeling relieved. In the evening, Ryoma apologized to Calum for inviting the slum children without prior coordination, but Calum assured him that what he did was an excellent step as they were hardworking and respectful children. At the end of the day, Ryoma sat down and wrote a letter to Eliaria, telling her that he had enjoyed everything he had experienced and was happy he had helped new people. He also wished her success in her next stage and sent her his gift. On the other hand, the next morning, Eliaria prepared to say goodbye to her family before traveling. Her father Reinhardt was anxious, unable to imagine her living alone for the first time. However, Elise and Reinbach reassured him that she was ready, and soon the tension eased into laughter. After that, her family wished her a safe journey. She bid them farewell and boarded the carriage to the capital. During the trip, she received Ryoma's gift and smiled happily as she held it. A month later, Eliaria arrived at her new academy and began studying advanced magic. Despite the ease of the lessons, she seemed slightly distracted, as the students avoided her due to her noble status. Elsewhere, she met a girl named Michelle, who introduced herself as the daughter of a poorly regarded noble family. Though very polite, Eliaria asked her to speak casually and suggested calling her Eli. From that moment, they grew closer. During that, Eliaria admitted she struggled to make friends, and Michelle revealed she faced the same issue. She explained that others initially mistook her for a prince, which distanced her from them. On the other hand, Miyabi had been listening unintentionally. After that, Michelle showed Eliaria a magic circle she had drawn. Eliaria was reminded of alchemy, but Michelle clarified she was still learning magic circles on her own. When Michelle added new elements, the circle glowed and sparked. Eliaria admired her passion and remembered Ryoma. After that, Michelle noticed Miyabi and apologized if she had startled her. Miyabi then said she had a message for Eliaria. Surprised at first, Eliaria quickly realized it was from Ryoma. During that, Miyabi conveyed his wishes for her success. Eliaria recalled their last meeting and felt happy, knowing he supported her. Returning to the main event, Eliaria smiled and invited Miyabi to be her friend. She accepted and Michelle joined them, forming their first true friendship. After that, Michelle suggested forming a team for practical training. The girls agreed, knowing they needed 6 members. Elsewhere, they went to find Riley from the noble Silford family. Strict but fair, she defeated her opponent easily. Afterward, Michelle invited her to join, and she accepted immediately. Miyabi was surprised, as Riley was among the best swordsmen, but Riley explained she preferred a cooperative team. With 1 member left, they searched for Kanan, a skilled artisan who was often alone. She was surprised by the invitation and happy to be accepted. During that, Kanan explained she came from a family of magical tool craftsmen but considered herself a failure despite her abilities. Many teams had rejected her, but the girls accepted her without hesitation, making her deeply grateful. After that, practical training began. Miyabi asked about camping experience, and Eliaria and Riley confirmed they had some. On the other hand, the instructor announced the start of training, and the students entered the forest to camp without servants. Many struggled, but Eliaria's team set up their tent and fire with ease. At the same time, a conflict arose between 2 groups after one refused to help the other. As night fell, Eliaria's team noticed the others struggling, then rested for the next day. In the morning, a tent collapsed, injuring a girl. She blamed another group and the argument nearly escalated, but Miyabi stopped it. Eliaria treated the girl and helped rebuild the tent. Returning to the main event, the girls later apologized after Michelle stressed correcting mistakes. Eliaria suggested cooperation, and they agreed. They worked together, building a latrine, and Eliaria taught Kanan a simple trap. The girls gathered food, each using her skills. During that, 1 girl fell while fetching water, and Eliaria quickly helped her. Everyone noticed her kindness and willingness to assist. The instructors were proud, especially of Eliaria's team. The days passed smoothly, and on the final night, they sat around the campfire, enjoying their time and thinking about expanding their friendships. At the last moment, Eliaria remembered Ryoma's advice about making friends. A girl she had helped approached and gave her flowers she had picked. Eliaria felt truly happy. After returning, Eliaria wrote a letter to Ryoma, telling him about all the wonderful experiences she had gone through. She also sent him some delicious berries for him to feed to his slimes. Elsewhere, the staff of the Bamboo Forest Laundry were preparing for the festival, setting up the stage. Callum informed Ryoma that the preparations were nearly complete, which filled him with excitement. After that, he stood watching the Semloid group rehearse for their grand performance, impressed by their energy and sword techniques. During that, Worgen, the guildmaster, appeared and thanked Ryoma for hunting the giant ants, then asked him to take on a special quest. Explained that he needed someone skilled in spatial magic, and Ryoma was the best choice. The task suited him, so he accepted without hesitation. On the other hand, the next morning, Ryoma gathered with the other adventurers in Worgen's office. They learned their mission was to defeat 300 Treant monsters and collect their wood. When they questioned the reason, Worgen explained that the materials were needed to renovate the city and build a new tourist town outside the southern gate. Celia wondered why normal wood wasn't used, but Worgen clarified that the engineer in charge demanded stronger material. Asahi was assigned as the team leader, while Ryoma's role was support using spatial magic. Mia and the others showed enthusiasm to work with him. After that, they headed toward the forest. Ryoma felt happy working with the team again, recalling past memories. They began planning, as Liban explained that the Treant's weak point was its face, and described how to identify them through their magical aura. In the evening, Mia set up the tents and noticed Ryoma taking out foldable chairs and a table from his dimensional storage, which impressed everyone. She praised him, making him feel embarrassed. During their conversation, Asahi noticed his tension and reassured him that everyone would support him, while Walana and Mazalia also confirmed their readiness. The next day they began the mission inside the forest. As soon as the first Treant appeared, Liban led the attack. Ryoma sensed its mana, and the team defeated it quickly. Ryoma used his slimes to gather materials, while Liban stored them using spatial magic, and they continued hunting. After that, they faced 3 more Treants. The team attacked together while Ryoma supported them with wind magic. Later, he had a chance to fight alone, successfully dodging attacks and finishing the battle with a precise strike. During that, both Liban and Ryoma sensed a strange presence in the forest. After lunch, Asahi praised Ryoma's performance, and Celia asked about his sword. He explained that he transforms one of his slimes into a katana. On the other hand, Mazalia discovered a new type of slime. Ryoma identified it as a fluff slime, capable of flight. Liban used spatial magic to bring it to Ryoma, who successfully tamed it and discovered its division level was 8. Liban explained its traits while Mia admired Ryoma's skill in handling slimes, causing him to feel embarrassed again. After that, the team advanced deeper into the forest and began sensing a dangerous aura. Liban noticed missing trees and suspected the presence of a high-level monster. During that, they encountered a large group of Treants and fought together. Walana was injured, but Ryoma intervened in time and saved her. The team continued fighting until they defeated the monsters. Returning to the main event, as they progressed, they hunted more Treants. At that moment, Ryoma planted his weapon into the ground, summoned his metal slimes, transformed them into axes, and launched them toward the enemies. With teamwork, they quickly defeated them. However, suddenly, a massive Treant appeared, stronger than any before. The battle began, but Ryoma's slimes were affected by its powerful aura, so he immediately returned them to his dimensional storage to protect them. At the same time, the normal Treants began shielding their leader and attacking the team. At that moment, Ryoma created a solid ground beneath them to stabilize their footing. The team fought with all their strength, but the monsters' attacks repelled them and damaged their weapons, shocking Liban and Asahi. During that, Ryoma reacted quickly. He transformed one of his slimes into a high-quality metal axe and managed to strike the monster. Then he created new weapons for the team using his metal slimes, allowing them to break through its defenses and continue the fight. After that, Ryoma transformed one of his slimes into a powerful Morning Star weapon and struck the Elder Treant repeatedly until it weakened. Then, he threw the weapon once more, and the monster collapsed, leaving behind a treasure chest. On the other hand, Asahi praised Ryoma greatly, calling him exceptional. In the evening, the team celebrated their victory, where Ryoma prepared stir-fried vegetables, and everyone enjoyed the taste. Liban noticed magical stones inside the Treant's roots, which was unexpected. Asahi also admired the soup, and Ryoma explained the origin of miso. They spent an enjoyable night together. The next day, they returned to Gimel, and Ryoma thought about the progress of the founding festival. Asahi noticed his distraction and reassured him he would see everything soon. Liban offered to transport the Treant wood using his dimensional storage. After finishing, they bid Ryoma farewell. Elsewhere, preparations for the Semloid stage were underway. Dolce welcomed Ryoma and showed him the stage, which impressed him with its speed of completion. Dolce and Fiona explained that it was finished in just 2 days, and that they had also prepared the stables. During that, Breenance appeared, and emphasized enjoying the festival. Shortly after, Kalum asked Ryoma to discuss an important matter. They had not chosen suitable drinks for the food and needed something special. At first, Ryoma didn't understand, but Kalum explained they wanted a unique option to attract customers. Tea was suggested, but the supply was limited. After that, Ryoma proposed making barley tea using Jin's grains. Jin was surprised by the idea. When everyone tried the iced tea, They liked it and thanked him. Returning to the main event, Ryoma confirmed that preparations were nearly complete and that the priority was enjoyment. Over the next days, the team worked together on preparations and cooking. After that, Ryoma considered making an ice statue of Brynance. At that moment, Serge arrived and presented the completed music box, while Mia quietly observed Ryoma. They listened to the new song through the music box, then continued cleaning and training. After several days, preparations were complete. Brynance was excited for the performance, and Serge eagerly awaited the festival. On the other hand, Ryoma felt exhausted, so Callum insisted he rest and took him home. The next morning, Ryoma played with his fluff slime, joking about creating a fluff queen. Suddenly, he noticed a dragon flying from Lanav, carrying Piora, so he quickly headed to the city center. Upon arrival, he met Piora, who explained he had delivered an urgent shipment. Asahi then appeared, revealing he had ordered miso for the festival. After that, Asahi invited them to visit Mia's house. She welcomed them warmly and wondered about Piora's presence, and Ryoma realized they were preparing a festival stall. Elsewhere, Mia had wanted to taste Ryoma's dishes from the train mission, but avoided disturbing him, so Asahi prepared them instead. She loved the food and convinced him to present it at the festival. After that, Ryoma and Piora tasted the mountain vegetables and praised their quality. However, a problem arose with serving rice alongside miso soup, as customers preferred portable food. Returning to the main event, Ryoma suggested a practical solution for serving the food conveniently. Mia liked the idea and thanked him. In the evening, Ryoma said goodbye and walked with Piora through the stalls. Piora admired the dishes and asked to sell them in his city, and Ryoma agreed, offering additional ideas. After that, Piora told Ryoma he would visit his stall during the festival the next day. On the other hand, the rulers used a new magic spell to observe events, watching Ryoma's performance as he became a rising star in Gimel. During that, Lord Villanovlia appeared and spoke with Kufo, expressing his enjoyment and interest in Ryoma's work. After that, Ryoma held a small gathering with his friends, then wrote a letter to Eliaria about his adventures. The next day, the founding festival began in Gimel, and all stalls were ready. Ryoma admired the city and first visited Mia and Asahi's stall, where they served Japanese dishes and wished him a good time. After that, he met Brynance, who displayed the music boxes Ryoma had made. Serge confirmed they had produced enough and that people would treasure them. Returning to the main event, Ryoma went to his stall and found a large crowd. Everyone admired the variety of dishes from different cultures. He asked Dolce to organize the lines and felt proud seeing people happy. During that, Jin requested more stir-fry and iced tea, while the slimes cleaned dishes. Ryoma quickly provided more ingredients. After that, work continued, and he fed leftovers to the garbage slimes, which were pleased. Elsewhere, Worgen passed by, and Beck said Ryoma had become one of the top businessmen in Gimel. When Ryoma noticed the children hadn't rested, he asked Worgen to let them take a break, but Beck refused. At that moment, Carla and the staff arrived, reminding him to enjoy the festival. Before leaving, Ryoma completed the ice statue for Brynance, which impressed him. After that, Serge and Piora asked about the iced tea. Ryoma explained, and they became interested in the grains used. He informed his staff, and their families thanked him for creating new opportunities. Then Carla advised him to enjoy the festival, and Mia offered him Japanese food he liked. Suddenly, Ryoma noticed a lost child crying and decided to help. He learned his name was Teo, who had come from far away. While searching for his mother, Ryoma reflected on his life, adventures, and bond with Eliaria. On the other hand, he met Galissa, who was glad to see him enjoying life in Gimel. He confirmed that he did. After that, he reunited the child with his mother, who thanked him and returned to his stall. In the evening, people gathered to watch the Semloid group's performance. They presented an impressive sword show using magic blades, earning admiration. After that, Ryoma continued cooking and taught Selma how to make yakisoba, which impressed her. During that, Carla told him the group hadn't reached the main event yet, so he searched for them and found them working on a statue of Lady Manolia, the Wind Ruler. Maya explained they were decorating it with souvenirs from different cities. Returning to the main event, Ryoma gave a short speech, encouraging everyone to enjoy the festival. Everyone celebrated the successful day, and Beck thanked him, as the children earned money thanks to him. After that, Ryoma thanked Carla. Then Maya asked him to join the final performance. He participated in a sword duel with Soldio and Maya, impressing the audience. Ryoma felt happy, having lived a memorable day. The next morning, Sergi visited him and asked for a favor. After that, Ryoma wrote to Eliaria about the festival and sent her a special music box with a melody he designed. And then, Ryoma began a new day in Gimel. And here the story comes to an end, dear viewers. We truly hope you enjoyed it and had a great time watching. Before you leave, don't forget to hit the like button to support us, subscribe for more videos, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any new anime on the channel. Share your thoughts with us in the comments, and we'll see you again in upcoming stories. Until next time.